Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of the Sunday Wire. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. We're streaming out live on YouTube, Rumble, X, BitChute, also on the audio streams afterwards. If you subscribe to iTunes or Spotify or any of the main audio platforms, we're there after the show. We'll upload that later afterwards. But welcome to everybody on the live stream. Thank you for joining us. Some interesting things developing this week. We'll try to share as much as we can with you. And then after the first break in Overdrive, we'll be joined by our team members from the Alternate Current Radio Network to go through some of the main stories in the headlines. There are many things that are happening in the world right now. We're going to be sharing as much as we can with you. Obviously, if you're tuning in from the UK, the Palestine Action story is massive and has huge implications, especially for activists and just anybody who's been talking about this issue and been protesting against the genocide in Gaza over the last couple of years. At least this is going to have a chilling effect, one might expect, on protests, but maybe not. Maybe not. The reaction to this has been pretty incredible so far. We'll cover that story in a few minutes. And again, I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. Thank you for joining us. And hello to everybody on X as well. We're streaming out live on our main X channels as well on that platform. So thank you for joining us as well. This is episode 553 of this weekly omnibus news and analysis radio program. If you're new to the Sunday Wire, we do a different kind of a show. We produce a different kind of a program than a lot of the other podcasters. So we do interviews sometimes, but it's more of an interactive, more of a dynamic show. We'll be taking our listeners, our reader comments as well during Overdrive. We'll be reviewing the best comments from Rumble, YouTube, and some of the other platforms. So we encourage you to participate there. We'll also be doing a little bit of multimedia analysis as well. We have some video clips, some news clips as well that we'll be bringing onto the screen. Now, as far as new platforms go, some of you will have noticed I've started a new presence on a platform called Substack. So we'll bring that up on screen here. That's my Substack page, Patrick Henningsen. You can just go to Substack and you'll find it there, patrickhenningsen.substack.com. And yeah, we just started this a couple of weeks ago, and it's kind of, gradually getting that channel together. And so it's a different type of content than what I put on 21st Century Wire, what we're publishing there with our great team at 21 Wire. Obviously, this is different. It's a little more personal to myself, so you'll see a slightly different side, a little more of a writer's platform, Substack. So this is a new piece that I wrote just yesterday called Why I Write. So you get a little bit of a insight into my background, a little bit more about what I'm about, what my motivations are, and we'll see how that develops. So it'll be an interesting platform as it gets together. So Substack, a lot of great content creators there. Obviously, you have to be on every platform, but what I chose to do is do something a little different on that platform. So it will be very different content than what we're putting out every day at 21stcenturywire.com. We do have some great reports, and a big thanks to Freddie Ponton in our Global Affairs department. He's doing an amazing job, as are everybody on our team. So there'll be a number of new stories at 21st Century Wire, which will be out on Monday. So do keep your eyes peeled on our main website on Monday. Now, we'll bring on this Palestine Action story because we'll bring this on in a few minutes because it's just incredible. But in America, this man, I don't know what to say about this man. There's a few things happening with the Donald, the Gulf of America. Yeah, another Trump development. So the 4th of July, American Independence Day, celebrated over the weekend. So it's a bank holiday of sorts in America. And this is about the best picture I could find of Trump. He's looking a little bit worse for wear. There might have been some Photoshop action going on in this one. But the country has never been in a more precarious position. And as it's 4th of July, I would have liked to see a different type of independence declaration. In fact, why not a declaration of independence from the state of Israel and from the Israeli lobby? I mean, I think it's high time. So for this special anniversary of American independence, why don't Americans get together, Republicans and Democrats, and declare independence from the Israeli lobby? Let's face it, they've got the U.S. Congress by the neck, and they've got this president by you-know-what. It's just unbelievable what America, what the United States is having to do on behalf of this little European colonial settler project, this genocidal colonial settler project known as Israel. And I'm putting it nicely, as nice as I possibly can, because I could say a lot worse. And I hope you're not going to be offended. I'm not going to go there. I'm being polite about it. But I think it's hard to argue that this is not the most controlled U.S. government in the history of the country, controlled by a foreign entity, a foreign lobby to be specific, a foreign lobby that doesn't have to register as a foreign agent. They get special privileges. So they just dragged the United States into a unprovoked war against Iran on another fake WMD gambit. Another fake nuclear weapons. Saddam Hussein's got nuclear weapons. You remember George W. Bush? A smoking gun could turn into a mushroom cloud. Remember that? I'm old enough to remember that. We were out in the streets protesting that, saying, don't go to war against Iraq. Don't fight a war for Israel, for Bibi Netanyahu. But they did it anyway. And here we are, 20-odd years later, 22 years later, repeat against Iran. And Israel demanded the U.S. and this president here, this guy. They demanded this guy come in and bail them out because they were getting hammered by the Iranians. Israel started a war. They thought it was going to be done and dusted. They thought the people would rise up and overthrow the Ayatollah. It didn't happen. Instead, Iran launched True Promise 3, and Tel Aviv is now being gentrified. In a nutshell, that's kind of like what happened over a couple of weeks, what they call the 12 Days War. That war is not over, by the way. Israel's and the United States are planning follow-up attacks now. This was just a pause. Trust me, it's just a pause. This is going to be a long war. Now we have Azerbaijan in the mix as well. Israel and the United States are using Azerbaijan, it appears anyway, as a type of a staging ground, as a type of a cudgel to poke both Russia and Iran. This is not going to end well for Azerbaijan, I can tell you right now. They really need to tread carefully because they're playing with fire, they're playing with geopolitical fire, and World War III could kick off in that part of the world. We discussed that just on Wednesday with the Midweek Wire, Wednesday and Thursday with Arnaud Devillet and Freddie Ponton. Great discussion. So that's what's happening with, so the Donald, little bit of a break. He passed the big, beautiful bill, or I guess it's not quite there yet, but it seems to be on the way. The big, beautiful bill, the big $2-3 trillion overspend. So that $36 trillion U.S. debt's going up. It'll hit 40 trillion before Donald Trump's out of office. So, so much for Doge. Remember that? Remember Doge? Doge. Oh, we're gonna rein in spending. Here's my buddy Elon Musk. Elon's up to has got a new project on the go, a new political party. We'll talk about that in Overdrive. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. I have my own opinions about what it actually is, but we'll leave that for the moment. In terms of the Iranian, back to the Iranian Gambit, we'll bring this up on screen as well. Seymour Hersh, Substack. The U.S. attack on Iran may not have wiped out its nuclear ambitions. No kidding. Was it an obliteration? Well, Trump likes to say it's total obliteration of the Iranian nuclear program. Was it? Was it really? I don't know. This is that key. Here's a key passage in this Hersh article here. More important, he said, was that there was no post-strike hints detected of radioactivity, more evidence that the 450 pounds of enriched uranium had been moved from the Fordo nuclear site to reprocessing in Isfahan prior to the U.S. attack, codenamed Midnight Hammer by the United States. They've always got these funny names for these operations. Operation Midnight Hammer. I think Pete Hegseth probably thought that one up. So Iran moved the enriched uranium, centrifuge activity not severely damaged. They probably removed quite a lot of that. So not totally obliterated, Donald. Not totally obliterated. And I'll bet you Pete Hegseth got a new tattoo. What do you think? He probably got Midnight Hammer right across his bicep above the infidel tattoo. That's our defense secretary. Totally adorned in tattoos. Totally adorned. He should be a motorcycle mechanic, but somehow he got promoted from Fox and Friends weekend host, not even an anchor, not even a co-anchor, a weekender, from Fox Weekend to the head of the Pentagon. That is a hell of a career path. Never been done before. There's a reason why it's never been done before, because you don't want incompetent people doing important jobs when they've been promoted to their level of incompetence, i.e. Pete Hegseth. So that's one for the books there. We'll talk about Palestine Action. We'll bring this up on screen here. So High Court ruling in the UK. This was just on Friday. Actually, this was going on while we were reporting live on the UK column. We piped in Wilsey from Resistance GB live in front of the Royal Courts of Justice. And they deliberated until midnight. I think there's an appeal. It's been lodged by the legal team for Palestine Action. So the UK government has labeled them a terrorist group. How about that? Pretty incredible stuff. A terrorist group. So this is a grassroots activist organization. Okay. They haven't committed any terrorist acts like in terms of what one might equate to, quote, terrorism, i.e. the use of violence, like, bombs and things like. No, they haven't done any of that. What they are guilty of, what the government is accusing them of, is criminal damage. Criminal damage against the military-industrial complex. And somehow this is threatening British national security. That's the argument the government's making. Is it a valid argument? That's a stretch. A lot of people say no. Well, the government says yes. Well, they would do. This is why they went for this major move. So this is an incredible situation. Unbelievable. I mean, it's hard to walk this back if you're the state, because if you think about it, all of these green organizations, these climate organizations, the things they've done, supergluing themselves to, trains, Just Stop Oil, a lot of criminal damage. Okay, so same type of thing, criminal damage. But one is now a terrorist group. And in the UK, if you're shown to support Palestine Action, now that they've been, quote, proscribed as a terrorist group, ergo, anybody who shows support, who has on their Twitter bio, whatever, I support Palestine Action, anybody who says anything like that, then you're guilty of a terrorism offense. I mean, talk about a slippery slope. I think this is like a little bit over the top. I think this is a lot over the top. They've gone completely overboard on this. Why is the government doing this? A grassroots organization, direct action, civil disobedience, the suffragettes, the women who campaigned for the right to vote at the beginning of the 20th century, the famous suffragettes in Britain, late 19th century, early 20th century, they used bombs. They were never proscribed as a terrorist organization. but they planted bombs and things like that. So why are they doing this? Is this at the behest of the Israeli lobby? I think that's probably the answer. The Israeli lobby is powerful, conservative friends of Israel, labor friends of Israel. The entire government, much like in the United States, is more or less captured and quite scared to go against this lobby. And check it out. Look at this. Retired priest, 83 years old, among Palestine Action protesters arrested. So I've got a clip from Sky News here, and we'll play this. This will get. I mean, we're 83-year-old retired priest arrested under the Terrorism Act for holding up a little 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that said I support Palestine Action or something like that. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing? When you have this type of thing happening afterwards, you know it was a bad ruling by the government, because this is just ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Here's Sky News, and look at how the media is just like reporting this like it's just some kind of, normal pedestrian development, and the media have no opinion on it at all. You notice they're just like totally hands off, even though this affects potentially their job. Journalists could be harangued by the state for being perceived to show support for what was yesterday an activist group and today a terrorist group, according to the UK judiciary. Here's Sky News. I mean, take a look at this.
Why were so many people arrested in Parliament Square?
The people who should be prescribed are the ones killing children.
Essentially, it's because they were showing support for what the government has deemed is now an illegal and terrorist organisation. That's Palestine Action. Now, the Home Secretary took that move after two members allegedly broke into RAF Bryan Norton last month, spraying Air Force jets with red paint, causing £7 million worth of damage. Now, showing support for an outlawed group can be holding up a banner in support or indeed holding up a logo. And that's what we saw in Parliament Square. So the police moved in and made those arrests. Now, lawyers for the group have been before the High Court and the Court of Appeal, arguing that they needed a pause before this ban came into effect. But so far, judges have sided with the government.
Yeah, a pause would have been good. That would have been the smart thing to do. Have a little, if you're going to go full fascist on this, at least give it, wait till Monday so people can fold up their banners. But no, it came into effect midnight and the arrests began. And we'll go over the pensioners first. The retired priests, pensioners, and other peaceniks, let's arrest them under terrorism charges first. How ridiculous. This is beyond ridiculous. But anyway, we saw it coming. That's why we reported on this at 21st Century Wire during the week. If you follow our website, you probably would have seen this story here, revealed how Israel lobby got Keir Starmer to ban Palestine Action. That was before the final ruling there. And yeah, the lobby leaned hard on the government, and the government capitulated. It's as simple as that. And it didn't stop there. Oh, by the way, just so you know, this is Yvette Cooper. She's the Home Secretary. All of these members of Parliament were under some sort of direct pressure or indirect pressure from these various Israeli lobby groups. Okay? Here's the language which you need to pay close attention to. We talked about this on Friday with Mike Robinson at the UK Column News. And this is the Home Secretary. This disgraceful attack on Bryan Norton, where they spray painted planes with red paint, Air Force Base, RAF Bryan Norton. In the early hours of the morning of Friday, June the 20th, is the latest in a long history of, quote, unacceptable criminal damage committed by Palestine Action. So even the words of the Home Secretary say, she's not saying terrorist attack, she's saying criminal damage. criminal damage is not terrorism, according to the law. So again, it's even in their own words. And this is also a very key piece here. And she says the UK's defense enterprise is vital to the nation's national security, and this government will not tolerate those that put that security at risk. So if you explain to me, how is it's national security, defense enterprise? Look at the word enterprise. They're talking about business. They're talking about defense contractors, many of whom are publicly traded on the stock market. So what are we really talking about here? We're talking about the military-industrial complex. So this action by the government is really to defend the industry, the defense industry that's been disrupted. So these people are, these activists are trying to stop an ongoing genocide. Understand this, that's happening in Gaza. They're trying to stop these Israeli defense contractors from sending arms from the UK to Israel. And Israel is, according to the International Courts of Justice and the ICC, are engaged in an ongoing genocide. This is beyond debate at this point. And the UK is not only a signatory to the Arms Control Act, meaning they can't supply weapons to any country that's involved in human rights abuses. And what Israel's doing in Gaza is way beyond human rights abuse. Again, the ICJ says it's genocide. So the UK government has an obligation to stop supplying weapons, to sanction Israel. They have that obligation under international law, international humanitarian law, which they've signed up to. They've ratified these treaties. The other one is the Genocide Convention. That is, every government, every person in this country or in any European country who's signed to the Genocide Convention is duty bound. They're obligated to do whatever they can to stop a genocide from happening or from continuing. It's worse now that you know it's happening. So now if you do stop it from continuing, you even have to act if you think it's going to happen. You have that right. So where's the UK government has just shirked its duties on all these important international agreements that form the post-World War II international order. How? Why? Why? So the government's willing to destroy the international legal framework for Israel so that Israel can continue a genocide. But what do you do when a government is trying to implement fascist, anti-democratic, anti-free speech, huge state overreach to shut down anybody trying to save lives? We're getting into very, very dangerous territory here as a country, as a civilization. I'll argue this is putting the entire international system at risk in much the same way that it was put at risk after World War I. In much the same way that brought down the League of Nations. I think we can make that argument. We can absolutely make that argument now. That's kind of what's happening. Back to the news. UK High Court hold back evidence whilst upholding F-35 controversial exports to Israel. What happened here? Well, this is what happened. The UK ignored its own spy footage when assessing Israel's compliance with international law. Britain has all the evidence because they've been assisting Israel in reconnaissance as they've been pulverizing Gaza. And they withheld that from this case. Unbelievable. Key documents also withheld from court on Israel's targeting of minors, sniping kids. That was withheld from the hearing. Okay. Foreign Office paid £715,000 for, quote, independent analysis on Gaza. It's all open source. What do you need? Go to the UN Human Rights Council. They've got plenty of information and analysis. A firm contracted by the Foreign Office, founded by former embassy official in Tel Aviv. Well, that's convenient. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, we're not showing you anything anything here that's secret. It's all public. But somehow it doesn't factor into the legal calculations when the government's trying to decide what to do with this activist group, Palestine Action, which are now, according to the government, a terrorist organization. And all of their members are now, ergo, terrorists. So the people trying to save lives, trying to stop children, women, men, innocent people from being bombed in their refugee tents, from being shot while they're trying to queue for food in a concentration camp erected by the Americans and the Israelis under a fake NGO under investigation for fraud called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. You can't be any more on the wrong side of this issue than you are by attacking the people that are trying to stop this international crime against humanity. I mean, it's really difficult to jump the shark any more than this. This is just this is next level. Anyway, we'll talk about this in the Overdrive. I'm sure we're going to have this discussion. We've got a few more items to share on that. I want to hear what our teammates have to say. We'll be joined by Hesher, Ruckus, hopefully Basil Valentine as well. Certainly Basil will have something to say about it. We'll do that in a few minutes after the break. Look, in the meantime, there's a new track out by a very powerful performance poet from South London. His name's Beady Man. You may not have followed his work over the years, but he's pretty powerful. He's got a new track out called Viva Falestina, and this is literally fresh off the press. We literally just got it like earlier today or late last night. It's just been released. We've got a link to his YouTube channel. We're waiting for a download link, and I think he's kind of doing this at least in aid of the medical aid for Palestine, those sort of charitable causes, but it's really more than that. This is just to raise awareness. So among many artists, including the ones we saw at Glastonbury, Bob Velen, Kneecap, and all these other artists, there's a bunch of others. I tweeted out a few more that have joined this cause. So it's great to see the artist community step up on this. And we'll play that track right now. Anyway, stay with us. This is the Sunday Wire. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. Thank you for joining us on the live streams. We'll be back in a few minutes. In the meantime, here is Beady Man, the poet. Viva Falestina.
If hope was a race, then it's finished. And if death has a smell, you can smell it. Where limited freedom is diminished. And if evil has a touch, you have felt it. Where there's no safe place to rest your head. And a child's greatest dream is for a loaf of bread in the rubble. She uncontrollably cries, a limbless child with lifeless eyes. Bombs relentlessly rain down from the skies to claim more hopes, more dreams, more lives. He tricks you into thinking that he doesn't exist. Well, he does, and he rules with an iron fist. Kids are taken out by snipers, left to die where they fell. The devil is real, his name is Israel. I see you all shutting your eyes to unending heinous crimes. Are we slowly heading toward the end of times? To this I say, Viva Falestina, Viva Falestina, Viva Falestina, free. Palestine. Shaban Adalu, we remember your name. Hooked up to an ivy and engulfed in flame. I really don't know if I'll ever be the same after witnessing these images and feeling his pain. I sit here in comfort and the tears fall from my eyes, feeling totally hopeless, watching you get terrorized. He tricked you into thinking that doesn't exist. Well, he does, and he rules with an iron fist. Kids are taken out by snipers, left to die where they fell. The devil is real, his name is Israel. I see you all shutting your eyes to unending heinous crimes. Are we slowly heading toward the end of times? To this I say, Viva, Viva Falestina, Viva, Viva Falestina, Viva, Viva Falestina, free, 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 Palestine. You see, when ignorance screams, intelligence stays silent. You can't reason with a fanatic, they'll just resort to being violent. An asymmetry of info that promotes the oppressor, whilst a name Palestine becomes a victim of the censor. The Palestinian people remain victim to the occupier, and the Zionist aggressor just plays a victim forever. 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 He tricks you into thinking that he doesn't exist. Well, he does, and he rules with an iron fist. Kids are taken out by snipers, left to die where they fell. The devil is real, his name is Israel. I see you shutting your eyes to unending heinous crimes. Are we slowly heading toward the end of times? To this I say, Viva, Viva Falestina, Viva, Viva Falestina, Viva, Viva Falestina, free, 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 Palestine. Wherever you find oppression, you'll also find resistance. You label them as terrorists, I see them fighting for existence. He tricked you into thinking that he doesn't exist. Well, he does, and he rules with an iron fist. Kids are taken out by snipers, left to die where they fell. The devil is real, his name is Israel. I see you all shutting your eyes to unending heinous crimes. Are we slowly heading toward the end of times? To this I say, Viva, Viva Falestina, Viva, Viva Falestina, Viva, Viva Falestina, free, 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 Palestine.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me the profound honor of addressing this great citadel of democracy for the fourth time.
And thanks for bombs that wreck Gaza one more time. For helping me pin it on Iran, that's the crime. Let me spin you a tale, talk you in its bedtime.
Our world is in upheaval.
We brand our foes as evil, it's our goal to spell. Labels ready-made, we wield them well. Terrorists, anti-Semites, animals all on sale. Every option laid out, no detail is too frail. Let me share my plan, it's all about me. Survival's the goal, friends, just let me be. Uncle Sam sends dollars, bombs, arms endlessly. Through twisted lenses, he pretends to see clearly. I could quote the Bible, but that's just for show. It's occupation versus civilization, as you know. Accusations by confession, the truth's on a low. Decades of incarceration, yet you clap for the show.
We win, they lose.
I can't breathe anymore, this noose is too tight. Just not as I blame in the dead of the night. We're criminals in truth, but that's our plight. Gentlemen in the headlines, painted in white.
Suddenly, heaven turned into hell.
We raised the homes, gave the order to shell. Bomb schools, mosque, hotels, there's more to tell. Not just that, hospitals fell as well. Thank you, madams and sirs, for funding this hell.
I thank President Biden for his heartfelt support for Israel.
Think this ain't real, it's all colonial play. Joe helps me claim defense in the broad daylight. Good man he is, though his words sway, supporting me, even when his talk's not right. They're killed with rage, Arab women, kids in their prime. Gaza's an open-air cage, living on borrowed time. More deaths on the way, they've sworn the crime. So we pin badges of courage in his bloody rhyme. What God's green earth am I ranting about? I'll take you on a ride, no doubt. But can't lie about genocide, that's out. Humanity's priceless, funds are what it's about. They call it occupation, a regime of hate, a racist dream built on a bloodthirsty state. Causing death, grief and pain at every gate. Yet I stand here and you still wait. And what I'm doing, I stand up in the skies, playing the victim, that's my life. But ouch, they're burning me in effigy skies.
And I want to say thank you, America.
I love you and your hamburgers, that's no bluff. My soldiers loved you as pampers, just enough. No more Octobers, but we had our stuff. And we were the symbol of heroic grace. Not apartheid or racist to any place. Butter wouldn't melt in my mouth, no trace. From north to south, where the embrace face.
They call Israel a colonialist state.
I think I'm kidding, grab the Times, take a read. Ask the White House, they're trying to lead, but they need more training to follow my creed.
That Iran is funding and promoting anti-Israel protests in America. They want to disrupt America.
Think of Iran, my arms go weak, my mouth goes sour. Let's find a new land to devour. Their might threatens our tower, hour by hour. Victory's near, but is it on my side? Defeating the enemies where I can find, but that's not in me. So prayers I need, and tax dollars, so my plans can proceed. We aim to make Gaza unlivable, our Nobel Prize. Then find a new place to colonize. Take the world back from the infidel guys. Make this region a 5-star paradise. Thank you, my lies have reached their demise.
Israel does not seek to resettle Gaza.
Lies have reached their demise. Thank you, my lies.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Sunday Wire. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. Thank you for rejoining us. That was a pretty powerful track by Beady Man. That's fresh off the press, right out of the studio this week. Great job by Beady Man. He's done some powerful political tracks, always timed to kind of what's going on in politics in the world, and he's delivered this. I know he's put out a bunch of other performance poet type pieces and other sort of tracks in the last couple of years, but of all the Palestinian themed ones, this one is the most powerful that I've seen. And so big thanks to Beady Man for supplying that for us today for the show. We just spoke to him just before the program, and what can I say? It's a powerful performance, and more power to the artists, more power to the musicians. The more they try to shut these people down, the more they try to censor them, like at Glastonbury, the bigger they get. Bob Vylan's tracks are like flying. He got dropped by his talent agency. All these controlled booking agents, Live Nation, all these people, they canceled their tours in America, just like Kneecap. And by doing this, these bands, their grassroots following is just exploding. So it's backfiring, and that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be, backfiring on these establishment monopolists trying to control the entire entertainment industry. Plenty to talk about here. Let me bring our teammates up onto the stage here. Hesher, host of the Boiler Room, Alternate Current Radio. Thank you for joining us. And also Ruckus, host of the Daily Ruckus. Right. Weaponized News, among other accolades. Thank you for joining us, Ruckus. I think Basil Valentine is going to join us as well on the fly. He'll be with us shortly too. But how you guys doing? I mean, did you guys catch that Beady Man track we just rolled out during the break? It's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, people in the chat are excited. It's been a while since they've heard Beady Man on the show, so that was great.
Yeah. He's a powerful performer, and like when he brings out his A game, it's it's strong. It's very strong. I mean, he went to the paint for Jeremy Corbyn hard in the last election before they kicked Corbyn out of politics, and it was a really powerful track. I mean, it's just like if you were on the fence about voting for that guy, you'd really being pulled. So he's a very politically charged artist, and he's really talented. But the words resonate. The words resonate. Did you guys catch? I mean, we didn't do a Sunday Wire last week because I was at a festival at Sounds Beautiful. But the whole Glastonbury thing kicked off last week, and the BBC refused to broadcast Kneecap. They gave him the Jerry Adams IRA treatment, and then other artists started stepping up, like Bob Vylan, and basically saying, death to the IDF. And they're horrified that there were like 20,000 people chanting this. And they tried to spin it into as an anti-Semitic and this and that. No, he's talking about the military that's carrying out war crimes. It's killing babies. And of course the people are going to chant with him because he's in the right. But the more they tried to cancel and shut this guy down, he's more popular than ever. I never heard of him. I never heard of Kneecap either before they started censoring them. Do these people never learn?
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. It's the Obi-Wan Kenobi conundrum, you know. They try to strike them down and they just get stronger, you know. I'd never heard of either of those bands either. You know, I woke up and the Spore asked me, "Did you hear about this stuff with Bob Vylan?" And I was like, "Bob Dylan? No, I did. I know they made a movie about him." And she's like, "No, Villain." And I'm like, "Oh, that's the guy that was saying death to the IDF. Yeah, I saw that. That was nuts."
Yeah, there's another band called Fontaines DC. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, I've heard them.
The Fontaines. So they're on it too. They did a big show at Finsbury Park in London. Let me bring this up on screen. Actually, you can take a look. There's some video footage here from that festival. Somebody posted on their social media. Here it is. So they just basically incorporated this into their entire stage presence. As you can see, Free Palestine. So like there's another one. So yeah, I guess this censorship thing just kind of has this way of backfiring. Oh, look at this. Even like additional enhanced graphics there. Talking about genocide.
Is this some sort of strange new phenomenon? I mean, or has ever happened before in history? They should name this phenomenon after something. I don't know. We'll just pick some washed-up actress singer from the past, like say Barbra Streisand, and maybe we can call it the Streisand effect. Yeah, this is nothing.
Good. You should coin that.
New.
You should coin that, Ruckus. That is brilliant. The Streisand effect.
Yeah. That sounds good. These people aren't stupid. It's 2025, and I assure you, all people, places, and things involved understand clearly how this works. Which leads me now with a giant question mark, quite a few of them, and scratching my head over: is this being allowed? Is this being created? Is this being co-opted? Or can we trust any of these people? Who are these artists? Did anyone do a deep dive? Have they been vocalizing this consistently from the beginning, or are they capitalizing on what is easily observed to be a trending thing? And it's a good way for them to garner name recognition. As you pointed out, nobody's heard of them. I'm not saying that about these bands, but you have to ask these questions. That's what a journalist would do. I don't want to do anybody's job out there for them.
Let's just go back to the beginning. Kneecap, okay? Kneecap, Irish, West Belfast, on the Republican side of that wall. Obviously, you know, very left-wing, revolutionary. And if you've ever been to West Belfast or Derry, we broadcasted from there, it's pro-Palestine to the hilt. Like, you go there, the graffiti on the walls, it's a guy in a wheelchair with the slingshot at the Great March that Abby Martin made the film about. There's a big mural of that guy firing a slingshot on his wheelchair at an IDF soldier. And then you go over to the other side, the Protestant unionist side, and it's all Israeli graffiti, like pro-Israeli IDF graffiti in Ireland or Northern Ireland. So it's a very divisive issue, and it's a long Republican, Irish Republican, and British loyalist lines. So you identify with Israel if you're from Northern Ireland and you're a Protestant, British loyalist, and you identify with Palestine if you're Irish Republican, IRA revolutionary type. And so that's kneecaps coming out of that. So that's, to me, 100% organic because it's true to type. And then from kneecap came Bob Villain. He said what he said as a protest for the censorship of kneecap. And then all these other bands are doing the same. So of course, some will come out early, and it's harder to come out early. Obviously, you take, all the flack from Sharon Osbourne in the industry and all that, like we reported before for like kneecap, and then Bob Villains come in on their sort of slipstream, if you will. And anybody else that comes in at this point, more the merrier. That's what I say. And if they're going to sell more records from it, I think they should be rewarded as artists for their politics rather than canceled. I'm all for it.
You don't really make money selling records anymore either. If you're an artist, you make money touring. And this is clearly a gamble for anyone that's going to do it in their stage set because they lose tours over it. So to me, it looks like they're willing to lose money, although that is a balancing act, right? I mean, you're right, Ruckus. Maybe in the long term, the notoriety is better than the short term losses. And we've seen that with other artists, but I kind of don't think that's what's going on here. I would use artists like Rage Against the Machine as the polar opposite example. They're out there shilling for their fans to accept authoritarianism. Believe it or not, that's where we're at in 2025. You can't come to our show unless you take a corporate injection. That's like a short-term popularity thing and a short-term get me back on stage thing and a short-term get my $1 million contract thing. But in the longer term, after enough people have lost loved ones and been, under authoritarianism in the music fan segment, they're going to lose fans. They will lose. This will not be a good legacy for them.
Yeah. I mean, over the course of one's whole career, trying not to sell out on, every issue, so to speak, it's probably near enough impossible over the entirety of your career. There's some issue that you're just going to you're just going to get it wrong, basically. Or it's going to come around. And I think COVID and that whole gambit with the vaccine and all that sort of canceling to do with COVID. There's obviously people that are just going to fail big time. They're just going to fall flat on their face on that.
I have another question about this event, too, because I also understand the way the media and live events work. Don't they have some sort of latency thing just in case something terrible happens? I don't know the exact word for this, but it's not exactly live. The delay, that's the word.
Correct.
Thank you.
So the BBC were caught off on the time delay, and I think because they didn't. Sometimes the censor they have a little button. I think it's a 5 or 15 second button or whatever. So in case anything happens, the broadcaster can go cut to commercial or cut to something else. Like, let's go see the Celtic folk band on stage 4, but they didn't do that. And Bob Villain caught them by surprise, and the rest is history. There he is, striding across I've been to that stage. I think I saw Maximo Park. I remember seeing on that stage in Bjork in 2007. It's a big stage. It's not as big as the Pyramid stage, but there's a good 20,000 people there, at least 30,000. And he tore it up, and they started chanting "Death, death to the IDF, death, death." And now everyone's got that on their ringtones on their phone now. It's like there was tracks out like literally the next morning. Tons of people had done remixes of it, and they're getting millions of views on X. So, look, I'm just happy because it's about time so the artists could step up. And look, the guy to thank is Michael Eavis, because they pressured him to deplatform Kneecap before the festival. He owns Glastonbury. He's 90, I think. He's a Quaker. Now, he's pro-Ukrainian. He got into all that sort of Ukraine thing in the past, which is just cringeworthy. Paul McCartney with the Ukrainian flag, and so people are a victim of brainwashing and propaganda. But on this issue, and thankfully, this is a stalwart left-wing issue, Palestine, and it has been for decades. So for the old lefties, they never moved on Palestine. It's always been a core issue internationally. So Evis told them he said, if you don't like it, go to another festival. That's what he told all the lobbyist groups, the the pressure groups, Hope Not Hate, all these hate speech NGOs that have cropped up to, gatekeep, basically. He told them to take a hike.
Yeah, not like there's not just dozens of concerts and festivals this time of year. You can totally pick and choose. In other concert news, Pat, Disturbed frontman David Draymond was booed last night while he was playing a support slot at the Ozzy Osbourne Back to the Beginning finale tour. And it was because of his ongoing support for Israel in the war on Hamas, if you will. That's how Daily Mail stated it. But yeah, he was getting jeered. They were jeering Draymond as he was singing that night, and so this has gone big. It's not just a couple of one-off things. Like, this is at a big concert like that was sold out within hours at a big venue. That guy, he had to kind of get, take some accountability for some of the things that he's said. He was out there talking against Kneecap right after that happened. And it looks like he has now received a backlash from music fans.
Yeah. And just to reiterate, when the whole Kneecap thing kicked off, we were reporting on it. All their UK tour dates, Marco Rubio intervened to cancel their visas, I think. And I think he's done the same with Bob Villain as well.
He did.
Canceled his visa, so basically can't go to the U.S. So this guy as well can't travel to the U.S. because they're calling out a genocidal military force that's getting armed by the U.S. I guess that's a terrible, terrible thing to do. I mean, who are these people? Who do they think they are? Who are these artists? They're using their platforms.
I have another one of these devil's advocate type questions, just something I was thinking about and mulling over the other day. And you all know me, and I hope you understand where I stand. So yes, this is all good things to me, and the more attention to this matter, the better, because it needs to stop like a long time ago, ASAP. This whole genocide thing is ridiculous. But for the longest time, there has been a considered effort from the media, the Israeli lobby, to demonize people who are using peaceful slogans, particularly Free Palestine and From the River to the Sea, Palestine will be free. There's been a lot, the slogans that have been attached to this, whatever it is, this movement, this zeitgeist, this changing of the whatever's happening that we're witnessing right now, as exemplified in the audience taste at these music concerts. That's a very big. That's a big tell. So society is not buying the Israel baloney anymore. So that's good. But the thing is, why now did now we're chanting a word that actually has a negative, can be literally, now they can say, aha, see, you are calling for violence by saying death to, granted, they're saying to the IDF. And of course, and when it comes to musicians, they scream horrible things in their lyrics and chants all the time. But of course, I don't think they would ever get away with saying something like this not that long ago. What's the reasoning behind this? Does it need to be that extreme to get the attention now because the Free Palestine wasn't cutting it? Or is this, allowed to grow so that they can further demonize everybody and say, hey, look, they're literally calling for death? I don't know.
I think I'll answer that question. And to quote Gilad Atzmon, who himself is a great artist, world famous in his field of music, and a best-selling author, and a former Israeli who's disowned his former country, you could say, like Alan Mizrahi as well. But Gilad Atzmon said the job of the artist is to push the envelope to the point where they reform the conversation. So the artist has the ability to deconstruct the matter, as it were. deconstruct the argument, put it together the way they want in their art, whether they're an artist, poet, a writer, or a musician. And rap is more direct. I mean, it's just more. It's literally you just come up with a chant, you know, 3-word chant, death, 5-word chant, or whatever it is, death to the IDF, and he just probably came up with that right on screen. He had the Free Palestine up behind him, but he did it, and it got broadcast, and then all hell broke loose. So that I think it speaks more to how much control there is on the media to prevent those moments from happening. They shut Kneecap out completely, and so it was like whack-a-mole. You push down Kneecap, Bob Villain pops up, Fontaine's pop up, other bands pop up, and I think you know, God bless them, we're actually witnessing something actually real happening for once. I can see how one could be skeptical because it has been so controlled and curated especially in the mainstream for so long, that when something does break out and they don't know how to handle it, total apoplectic fit by the mainstream and government, and everybody's freaking out. BBC is like, oh my God, who do we fire? Someone needs to be fired. So if I said death to ISIS or death to Al-Qaeda, what would happen to me as an artist on stage? Probably nothing.
Nothing much.
Would it make a headline? No. And so this is a military outfit, the IDF, and they are bombing people in refugee camps repeatedly on film for years now, 20 months. And shooting people that are starving, queuing up for food. So if somebody's saying if you say death to the American military, is that gonna get you in any hot water?
Depends who you are and where you say it, but not generally.
Death to the U.S. military, you know, death to the U.S. Army or whatever. It's probably not. It's probably not really gonna. Even in America, you know, people might say, so what? It's a military. Yeah. What are you going to do about it? It's a military force.
You get a lot of side eye, or you might get a punch in the face if you're in the wrong bar. But other than that, like, it's not going to make a headline. That's for sure.
And if you said death to the Russian army in the West, what would happen to you? Would you get canceled?
No.
You'd be, it would
get a
be
promotion.
Yeah, they'd be dancing, wouldn't they? Yeah, you got it, Ruckus. They'd be dancing, and Ellen DeGeneres would be doing like a happy dance on her show. So, but say that about the Israeli army? Whoa,
hey,
whoa, no. Easy now. Oh, let's not get violent. You know, and so the disingenuous celebrities, media personalities said they're calling for what do they say? The extermination of all Jews. This rapper, and I love how they caveated. They said this obscure rapper. Okay, so he's obscure, but you're making him famous,
and he's playing a pretty big venue.
You know what I mean? It's just like, you guys can't get it right. You know.
Last time they reported about that guy, they called him an up-and-coming independent artist.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's arrived. He's arrived, all right. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's just brilliant. To me, the best part about it was the next morning, and all these people did their viral remixes, and they're all getting millions of views on X.
Yeah.
And there was a house trance version. There was like a garage version. It was a happy house version. It was great. So, I mean,
I want the mashup version with the Donald Trump one that they did, where they don't know what the F they're doing. That'd be fun.
Oh, that, yeah. I've heard that one. That's a good one as well. Yeah, so good. And I don't know if you guys caught this or not, but, you know, this is a huge story. Now, I remember when this isn't even an organization. Like, they just got a website together. It's literally a grassroots collective that are doing kind of what the Greens do. You know what I mean? Like, the climate people chain themselves to things, do direct action. They're vandalizing weapons Israeli weapons firms, basically. They spray painted a British jet red, and apparently that was, against national security. So, and here's my argument on this, and we'll go to details on it. So look at this. Here we go. So here's the argument. This is the Home Secretary, guys. The UK's defense enterprise, interesting choice of words, enterprise, is vital to the nation's national security, and this government, the British government, will not tolerate those that put that security at risk. So they're talking about enterprise. That means defense industry. So, but how could that be a risk to national security? I mean, who's invading England? Are the French invading? Is it the Dutch? Are they coming? Are the Orangemen back? Like, what's happening? And so then they'll make the argument, well, it's in the national interest. So, okay, so the national interest. So the national interest is the corporate interest, right? That's the argument that's implicitly being made here. So corporate interest is national security. We put those things together. That's what they're saying here. And that is a very blurry line. It's a very blurry line. And they're enforcing it. And I'm afraid this is pretty fascist. As fascist goes, this is pretty fascist. These people are not doing violence to anybody. They're activists, but they're doing criminal damage. That's what they said here. We'll bring that back. Criminal damage, unacceptable criminal damage. No, okay, there's already laws on the books for that. Mm-hmm. They've taken them to court already. This same group has been to court and been dismissed once, twice, 3 times because it was argued by their defense lawyers that they were trying to prevent a genocide. And the government just jumped over all of that precedent law and jumped straight to invoking the Terrorism Act. So they're going to appeal. I think they have a good chance in the appeal. But the time it's going to take, at the moment, you can't express any support for this organization, Palestine Action. So otherwise, you can get arrested as a terrorist in the UK. So it's kind of a crazy situation if you think about it. Like this is, who's behind this? I think it's the Israeli lobby that's really leaning hard on the government to kind of, make this work, shut this down, shut down any support on social media or any protests in public. They just want to shut it down. That's exactly what's happening here. Guys, this is, you're nearly there in America with Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts, you guys, on this?
Their proxies will do this anyways. I mean, look at what was it the CTO of Palantir said about Code Pink after someone broke in, after the footage we played a few weeks back, breaking into a meeting and with Alex Karp and saying, free Palestine, why is your technology killing my friends and family? And of course she got laughed at and ejected from the room. But then one of their C-level corporate stooges gets on Fox News and starts asking the U.S. government to label Code Pink a terrorist organization for that. So it's like Israel itself doesn't even have to do it. They've got all these lackeys in the corporate industry, in the media industry. Of course, they've bought their way into the House of Commons and bought their way into the Senate and bought their way into the Congress and bought their way into the White House and shoved their little technocratic Eichmanns into the White House. And all these people do the busy work for them, So I'm not surprised at all. And you're absolutely right. We are on the way there ourselves here in America if we don't utilize our free speech as much as possible.
I want to welcome Basil Valentine onto the stage. Hello, Mr. V. How are you doing?
Good evening, all, and hello to viewers and listeners all around the world. I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, this comes after months of lobbying by various Israel lobby groups to get Palestine Action banned. It's an embarrassment, as well as actually causing some considerable harm to the UK wing of the Israeli arms industry with its targeting of Elbit systems. It was proving extremely effective at disrupting the supply chain, as well as, of course, drawing attention to the genocide itself. The Home Office, when they published their reasons for why they were prescribing Palestine Action, lifted whole sections verbatim from the statement by We Believe in Israel, a lobby front group. So it seems that the UK Home Office was simply copying Tel Aviv's homework, adding fuel to the notion that Britain is indeed ruled by Tel Aviv. I mean, the Daily Mail, the Sunday Mail last week, after Bobby Villan's performance at Glastonbury, actually ran with the headline, Tel Aviv furious, as if that should make any difference to what happens on stages at events in Britain. So what if Tel Aviv is furious? Tel Aviv is busy conducting a genocide. It's a good idea to make Tel Aviv furious, isn't it? But over 20 people were arrested in Parliament Square yesterday. Ironically, on the same day that David Lammy met al-Jilani in Damascus, somebody who's actually sliced people's heads off with a big knife. They were arresting an 83-year-old elderly priest woman, a pacifist. So, of course, the jokes and the memes have been doing the rounds on social media. There are, in fact, Hamas tunnels under her house. She is only days away from enriching uranium sufficiently to produce a nuclear bomb. We are all so much safer now that this 83-year-old pacifist has been locked up. So Mark Rowley had the cheek to go on BBC this morning and defend the prescription, or rather the arrests at least, by saying that they'd caused thousands of pounds worth of damage. Well, that's the whole point of the exercise, Mark Rowley. And previous precedent set by the court states that a crime is justifiable if it can be proved to be preventing a greater crime. And obviously there is no greater crime than genocide. So we really are at a tipping point. We're at the fulcrum of whether we choose to live in a civilized society or a barbaric one. I think more and more people are waking up to the fact that Western powers, and in particular the United States, United Kingdom, and above all Israel, are in fact on the side of barbarism. Hence all the chanting at Glastonbury last weekend. We are perhaps on the cusp of some kind of global awakening to just how evil the people running our respective countries are. But for the time being, they're doubling down. The Telegraph has today run with a headline, banning Palestine Action is just the first step. Britain has for too long allowed anti-Israel hate marches to become a regular fixture on our streets. So the lobby for which Israel, the Telegraph is one of the chief mouthpieces, now want to stop the anti-genocide rallies and marches. They'll be going after the Palestine Solidarity Campaign next. They'll be going after anyone that can get their hands on. A lot of people have been questioning how this is now going to play out. I mean, Roger Waters posted a message on social media saying this is the Spartacus moment. I have to say now that I'm reporting what a third party said, Roger Waters. These are not my views, or there'll be a knock on the door. But Roger Waters,
can you say Spartacus? Is that a violation of the Terrorism Act to
Good
say
question.
I am Spartacus?
There you
or
go.
This is a Spartacus moment. Is that too racy for this?
Well, Roger posted, I support that in a message on social media. So the campaign against anti-Semitism, of all people, are calling for his arrest and drawing police attention to it. So Roger could be arrested, even though, of course, it's the campaign against anti-Semitism that are being anti-Semitic by conflating the criticism of the IDF with all Jewish people. which is itself an anti-Semitic trope. But anyway, to go back to, so the Telegraph want to ban the marches, obviously. Yvette Cooper took, really ridiculously cheap woman, £300,000 from Israel lobby donors.
Really? That's a lot.
Well, it's a lot in British terms, but
British terms, huge.
That buys you domestic policy. That gets you Tel Aviv writing the Home Office's press releases. That buys you the prescription of a protest organization. So these are particularly dark days in many ways. They are. This is fascist. There's no point mincing words. It's not nearly fascist or proto-fascist. It is fascist. And all I can say is that the resistance is doubling down, is more popular than ever. What's really infuriated Israel, the lobby, and of course their bought and paid for lackeys in Westminster, is that for all their decades of propaganda and censorship and all the rest of it, they can't stop people using their own eyes and ears to see what's going on, to work out what's going on, particularly among young people. And what happened last weekend in Glastonbury was totally disruptive to the narrative that they've been trying to sell for the last 2 years in particular, but 30, 40 years and longer. And that's what causes them to melt down in the way that they have.
Yes, yeah. I'm so happy that Glastonbury has kind of repaired its image a little bit from when Paul McCartney and his Ukrainian flag solo a couple of years ago. That was pretty cringeworthy and really put me off Glastonbury altogether. But now it looks like it's cool again. So
it's for as long as it. Of course, the lobby want to get the whole thing cancelled. They don't really like. Oh yeah. And the festival is now going to be subject to a license review. Which means that the authorities, the local council, police, and doubtless the Home Office will have input as well, are going to say, you're not to book this kind of artist. You're going to have to mute people. There have been calls for the Director General of the BBC to be sacked for having allowed the Bobby Villan broadcast to go ahead. Oh yes, they double down at every opportunity, Patrick.
So if the IDF managed to kill every last breathing soul in Gaza, should Glastonbury then throw a celebration, and maybe the main stage, the pyramid stage, could have I don't know, what's a good pro-Israeli band could come out and do.
Well, that dreadful bloke who was booed at Aston Villa yesterday.
Disturbed. Yeah, they can do a sort of a gratuitous solo and celebrate the virtues of the Middle East's only democracy and the most moral army in the world. Would that make them happy? Would that be acceptable by the BBC if they did that?
Well, the BBC are being forced to put in a kill switch and to vet anybody that they screen from Glastonbury Live much more assiduously in future. That's all coming into place. It's all got to be sanitized. Remember?
Well, there's a kill switch for the BBC. It's you put your hand on that plug that it connects the TV to the electrical outlet, and you yank it. That's the BBC kill switch. Now, David Lammy is the esteemed Foreign Secretary, Basil, of the UK's most vaunted Foreign and Commonwealth Office, and well, we're talking about proscribing activist groups in the UK who are spray painting planes and trying to stop a genocide and labeling them terrorists, while at the same time the Foreign Secretary is embracing the founder of al-Qaeda in Syria, the former deputy of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the Caliph of ISIS, none other than al-Jilani himself. And so I got a call from a media outlet. I won't name the media outlet, but they're very notorious and very dangerous. But they called me to comment on this, and I probably, I thought, is this a good thing to comment on, especially with this outlet? And then I thought, this is so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. I couldn't help myself. So let me upload this and so you guys can watch it. So you probably are familiar with the outlet. They've got that funny green logo. Those guys those ones. So yeah, they asked me about Jolani and what does it mean. So we'll do a little review of his esteemed career. This is the new president of Syria. Let's look at his resume, and then I'll just play like a couple of seconds or 30 seconds or a minute of my opening comment. But this is about the easiest interview I ever had, ever.
No one has the right to erase another group. There must be a legal framework that protects and ensures the rights of all.
There are thousands who joined Al-Qaeda. But why did they join Al-Qaeda? That's the question.
What did you think and feel on 9/11 at the time?
Anyone who lived in Islamic or Arab world at the time who tells you he wasn't happy about it would be lying.
You're recognized, you're designated as a terrorist by the United States, by the United Nations, by many governments. What do you say to them?
That's his unfair characterization. It's a political label that carried no truth or credibility. We haven't posed any threat to Western or European society.
Let's discuss this with Patrick Henningsen, independent journalist and founder of the 21st Century Wire news website, joining us from the UK. Good to see you, Mr. Henningsen. It's been a while. First of all, I'd like to ask for your initial reaction to the announcement that the UK is renewing diplomatic ties with Syria after we saw David Lammy there shaking hands with al-Jolani in Damascus.
Well, it was a long time coming. The United States, the UK, other European countries have telegraphed this, what they call normalization of relations with Syria. I look at this as the sort of culmination of a 14-year regime change project, because that's exactly what it is. And this is kind of shocking on many levels, which you've, shown a great compendium of all the sort of facts and things that led up to this moment. But let's just start off with the fact that this is not actually a legitimate government. By definition, by my own press and journalism handbook definition, this is a junta. And if we count the fact that HTS, aka Al-Qaeda in Syria, is a listed terrorist organization by many of these Western countries, then it's a terrorist junta. So that's kind of like what you're interfacing with. But it kind of makes a mockery, in a way, of the whole concept of, quote, proscribing terrorist organizations that the West do. And it just shows that there's no real objective. It's the only thing Jolani said in that interview, that it's a political designation. Certainly it is. And so political and so arbitrary that it's been lifted. And the reason it's been lifted in this case is because Jolani, a.k.a. al-Sharar, this self-styled, self-proclaimed president of Syria, no elections, no plebiscite. In fact, he's saying no elections in the next 4 or 5 years, no expectation of any democracy at all. But he has said he wants to have normalized relations with Israel. That's the reason, and no other reason. That is the main reason why the United States and why Britain are engaging, why France is engaging with this regime in Damascus, okay? And there's no other reason. And so, and also this is quite extraordinary because the events of the last few weeks have vindicated what the Iranians were saying for years, which is that it was defending Syria from the terrorist onslaught, the hordes of international brigades of mercenary terrorists led by the likes of Jolani, who himself is the former deputy of al-Baghdadi, the head of ISIS, the founder of al-Qaeda in Syria, al-Jolani, aka al-Sharar, that if Syria fell, if the Assad government fell, then Israel would have a clear path to attack Iran. And what happened 6 months ago? The Assad government fell, Israel took out all of Syria's air defenses, and Syrian airspace then came under the control of the United States and Israel for the most part, at least that path that directed them right above Iraqi Kurdistan for a clear shot at Iran. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened a few weeks ago. So anyway, I thought I'd get that dig in on the Iranian angle, but what do you think? I mean, this just makes a mockery of the whole war on terror, full stop, doesn't it? I mean, how could any of these governments be taken seriously in that how they're labeling one terrorist group and another? It's a complete joke at this point.
Isn't he, or is Jolani like the perfect poster child for a in the open CIA, U.S. State Department, Pentagon, Mossad style cutout dictator to drop into a country? I mean, there's like comedy movies about this. It reminds me of Zelensky almost, except this guy has, like Basil said, sliced people's heads off with a large knife.
Head chopper from Idlib. Trump said 30,000 terrorists in Idlib. He even admitted it his first term, led by that guy. So it's U.S.
No. The terrorists are Palestine Action, people seeking to disrupt the supply of weapons to the genocidal regime.
With spray paint cans. With spray paint cans.
Throwing paint on planes. That's terrorism. Not slicing people's heads off. To bring you just up to date with that, they sought an injunction at the High Court where the Lady Chief Justice herself, Baroness Carle, who I know personally from university, was presiding, and that failed. The High Court, in a really abysmal decision, because it was a cop-out. They said, we're only here to, uphold the law, not to interpret it in any way or judge the organizations themselves. That's for the House of Commons to do. So now Palestine Action are seeking a full judicial review, and that application will be heard towards the end of this month. A judicial review then means a much lengthier process that examines the legality of the government's decision, because back when the act that's been used for this prescription was passed in 2003, it was explicitly stated that it would not be used to prescribe this kind of organization.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I personally still cling to the hope that there are enough wise heads in the judiciary to overturn this ban.
I agree. You're right, Basil. I think it's going to get overturned. The problem is, in the meantime, they're just arresting people willy-nilly, pensioners, priests, Quakers, all sorts.
Right.
That's the problem. People's rights are being violated in the interim. But you're right, Basil.
And of course, the funniest thing was they decided, I don't know whether they were going ahead with this, to simply change the name of the organization to Yvette Cooper.
Yeah.
And so that then the Home Secretary would have to try and prescribe herself. We're going to ban Yvette Cooper.
That'd be a very British thing to do.
Yeah, people have been asking on social media as well, how does this work? What if an organization with orbit identical aims pops up tomorrow simply called Action for Palestine? And
you have to go through the whole process.
It's a different organization. So, the law is, as Ben Johnson famously said, if that is the law, then the law is an ass.
How about the provisional Palestine Action?
Yeah.
Provisional. They're doing the whole Irish Republican jig. Okay, now here let's bring the document up, guys. Let's take a look at this. I'm sure Basil's read this already. Hold on, let me try to get this thing queued up. But so I've got the statement issued by the Metropolitan Police, the actual statement. Let me try to get a hold of that. But the wording is very so what's covered under this, it's just this crazy broad brush. I don't know if you've read the actual police statement or not, but it's just kind of, my fear, guys, is this is the shape of things to come. Like they're really just getting very, very broad and arbitrary with these sort of things. And, here we go. This is the official statement here. We'll bring this up on screen so everybody can take a good look at this. And I'll scroll down through it as well. And so here it is. Update on policing in London following the proscription. This is such a wanky word, proscription. Prescribed. It almost makes it sound like it's no big deal. Proscription of Palestine Action. So Palestine Action, again, this is the Metropolitan Police. They're enforcing this. Palestine Action has now been proscribed by the UK government, and expressing support for them is a criminal offense in the UK. I mean, that alone is a little bit dicey legally.
Exactly.
But they don't even say terrorism here. They just say proscribed. And I don't see the word terrorist. And that to me it makes it sound like it's no big deal, but you still can't talk about them. But if they use the word terrorist in there, at least would have a little more weight to it. But anyway, they get the Terrorism Act comes here. So there are a number of events taking place in London this weekend, and anyone attending should be aware that officers are policing. Oh my gosh, the crews are out policing speech and thought. These will act where their criminal offenses, including those related to the support of proscribed groups and organizations, are committed. Under the Terrorism Act of 2000, TACT, the Home Secretary may proscribe an organization if they believe that it is concerned in terrorism and it is proportionate to do so. What if they're anti-genocide? Is that really that bad to be anti-genocide? Anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. Proscription makes it a criminal offense to invite or express support for a proscribed organization through chanting, wearing clothes, or displaying articles such as flags, signs, or logos. Now, what if you sympathize or show compassion, or you morally side with the group in question? Does that count as a criminal offense? Because it's not explicitly listed here. They're really explicit here. Basil, I don't know what your opinion is on it. It says chanting, wearing clothes, or displaying articles such as flags, signs, or logos. Is that explicit enough for you, Basil, as a member of the public?
Well, 2 people were detained by the police yesterday, I believe, for wearing T-shirts that said simply "Free Palestine." This was in Lancashire. They were told to take the T-shirts off because they could be in breach of the law. Just the words "Free Palestine." Now, at the moment, we're not quite in a situation where saying "Free Palestine" is itself a criminal offense. I think the Israel lobby, would very much like to move the Overton window all the way over there. There have been editorials by horrendous individuals like Melanie Phillips saying that any form of solidarity with the Palestinian cause is anti-Semitism. Really extraordinary stuff.
Who is Melanie Phillips again? Is she the chief rabbi or something? Or
she's just a extremely. But she's one of these, ultra Zionist, psychotic, warmonger witches that is still given a veneer of respectability.
And what's her qualification for wanting to enforce thought control and
none
speech
at all,
control?
apart from the fact that she's a member of the chosen race, of course. So that gives her unlimited
tribe. Yeah, tribe.
Yeah,
the tribe.
So,
okay,
but that's where they want to go. So I mean, at the moment, yes, this is vague. I mean, if you use those two words together, the name of the organization, the words beginning with P and A, and you say those words, in a very favorable context, or of course the chant that was doing the rounds, "We are all blank blank," then you're going to get into trouble. We don't know whether the police are going to be sort of pulling people out of marches for saying that, or for wearing the PA T-shirts, which were very popular at Glastonbury last weekend. PA actually signed up 1,000 new members at least last week. So
wait,
it remains
PA,
to be seen.
There's a lot of people at Glastonbury that have shirts that say PA crew, as in audio or AV crew.
Yes,
public address. What is that? So if you say we are all personal assistants, we are all personal assistants. We're all PAs.
That's right.
maybe that'll work. What do you think?
Oh, it's reached levels of complete and utter absurdity, particularly, when you consider that simply expressing support for this organization is the same as being a fully paid up member of ISIS or Al Qaeda. That there's
or the
no
IDF.
Yes. Well, no. The IDF is a protected characteristic, Patrick.
It's a characteristic.
If you chant against the IDF, then you're guilty of a hate crime.
So if I identify as an IDF, I get special protections. Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's good to know. In case you get into a jam, you can always pull your IDF card. You can always pull the IDF card.
Well, I mean,
and say,
this is.
I aspire to serve in the IDF, even though I'm not Jewish.
There are quite a number of so-called British citizens, dual nationalities in many cases, who've been to Gaza and taken part in the genocide. They are returning to the UK, including some members of what have been called the craziest units.
Okay, hold that thought. I want to get through this police thing. I want to get Hesher and Ruckus's comment on what's here, and then we'll come back to you, Basil. But let me just get through this real quick here. So it is a criminal offense to, number one, going on the bullet points here, belong or profess to belong to a prescribed organization in the UK or overseas. So membership, I suppose, or wanting to belong, who knows, invite support for a prescribed organization. Now that is pretty vague and arbitrary. Invite support. What does that mean? Express, how about this? Express an opinion or belief that is supportive of a proscribed organization. Whoa, big red flag here, guys. I think we can stop there. I want to get Hesher and Ruckus's reaction to some of this. Your thoughts, Hesher?
Well, first off, I want to talk about the word proscribed for a second. I don't think that's a word a lot of people use very often. And it means prohibited, basically, prohibition. So what they're saying here, if I'm reading between the lines, if I'm using my globalese translating decoder ring, is that we are the government and we are paid by other governments to prohibit the kind of clothes you wear, the kind of things you can say, the kind of people that you can agree with or relate with or even meet up with and hang out with. Like, that is prohibited. So the government is saying, if you even think that you agree with what you have seen from a proscribed person or a proscribed rapper or a proscribed whatever, and they can throw any group in this proscription whenever they want. They're telling you that you're not free to dress and speak and think and meet with people in the way that a free person would, should, and could. That's what they're telling you. They're telling you you can be arrested for something that they have proscribed, something that they have prohibited. A prohibited person, a prohibited t-shirt, a prohibited scarf, a prohibited rap, a prohibited slam poetry, a prohibited rock song, whatever. And this is amazing. They're basically telling you that if you have an opinion that is other than, that supports anything they want to proscribe, then you can be arrested. And they arrested a German grandma last year, 95-year-old German grandma, for quote unquote Holocaust denial. And some of our friends in the chat are saying, well, they can't arrest everyone. And I think that's kind of the phase that we're at right now. Everyone is being a problem, quote unquote, everyone, all the way up to the director of BBC. And even though he may not think that, he allowed that platforming to happen, or they want to place blame on someone. They want to scapegoat that person. So this is going to be interesting to see how, are they going to fill the jails up with people that were wearing T-shirts? Are they going to have to let the rapists and murderers out so that somebody with a white and black scarf can sit in a cell and rot and think about what the horrible atrocities that they've done by asking for an end to a genocide? I don't know.
Well, it seems like that. Ruckus, what do you think?
This is all insane to me, especially the timing of this, because, it was 4th of July not that long ago here in America, where this country celebrated its independence from Britain. And I might want to remind everybody that this type of thing is nothing. They did not need the Israeli lobby back then to start attaching the label of terrorism to a certain select group of individuals at that time. Oh, yes, that's right. Most Americans these days appear to have forgotten this life lesson. But yes, the founding fathers, the one who started this country where I'm broadcasting to you from today, almost 250 years ago, were proscribed as terrorists. And usually the patriots out here like to talk about that and bring that up, because oftentimes those people who are now, cozy with the MAGA and the tech bros and everything's going their way now. But when it wasn't going their way during the last administration or during the medical intervention emergency period time, how dare you stamp on our rights? How dare you say this, XYZ? The lefties, too, they're like, oh, don't you touch my body. Like, where are all of these people's outcry over a government overreaching and just randomly labeling people and organizations willy-nilly as terrorists? This example here of the Free Palestine, I was like thinking, what's an interesting analogy? Oh, yeah, that's right. Here in the United States of America, most states, I'm pretty sure, fact check me here, it's against the law to go to somebody's parked vehicle with their windows closed and just smash open the window. That's a crime. However, if you walk past a car and the windows are closed and it's a hot day and there's a little kid stuck in there, you're allowed to bash open that window to better the situation and save that child's life. This what they did here against these people would be like taking that person who just bashed that window, not only criminalizing them for the action, but throwing them in the slammer for years and making it a crime to even be outside anywhere within 6 feet of any closed car windows. It's insane to me what they're doing here. This is like this. The West clearly has a terrorism problem, but it's not the one that we think. They have a problem with just using this word whenever it suits their needs. We're going to call this group terrorists, but the last group we called terrorists, they're not terrorists anymore. Well, how long do we have to wait till these people aren't terrorists anymore? Are they going to start their own country now? Are we going to have a new revolutionary war from Free Palestine? I doubt that, unfortunately. But yeah, it's all insane to me and tone deaf considering the timing of it all.
And just another hold on, wait 1 second. Another reminder, let me bring this up on screen. That's Donald Trump embracing the founder of Al-Qaeda in Syria, who cheered on 9/11, al-Jilani. So none of it means anything anymore as far as our governments are concerned. So they really don't have very much credibility at all, if they did at all at this point anyway. And I'll come to you, Basil, in a moment, but let me just run quickly through this. Okay, here's the next bullet point. This is interesting, guys. Arrange, manage, or assist in arranging or managing a meeting in the knowledge that the meeting is to support further the activities of a proscribed organization or is to be addressed by a person who belongs or professes to, okay, fine, how about this, wear clothing or carry or display articles in public in such a way or in such a circumstance as to arouse reasonable suspicion. Do you guys feel aroused? Is anybody aroused in the chat? If you're aroused, we'll bring the comments up. That the individual is a member or could be a member, maybe they're a member, or thinking about becoming a member, or could be a supporter construed thereof of a prescribed organization. Okay, fine. I editorialized that a little bit. I embellished, I admit it. But that's kind of like the word salad. Publish an image of an item of clothing. So that T-shirt sales out the window right there, or other articles such as a flag, logo, similar circumstances. If you have any concerns during an event, speak to a police officer or an event steward and see if they are in violation, or if you suspect somebody is in violation of the Terrorism Act of 2000. Snitch on them. If you see something, say something. You know the drill, guys. Basil, you know the drill.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the irony is that it was the anniversary of the suffragette movement. They would have been designated as terrorists, and you had dozens of women parliamentarians standing in Westminster Hall, including the Home Secretary herself, wearing the colours of the suffragettes. The suffragettes would be designated as a terrorist organisation now. They actually did a lot more criminal damage and damage to people, animals. One of them threw herself under the King's horse in the Derby, than PA have done. So, the hypocrisy is simply off the charts. And as Ruckus pointed out, there's also, breathtaking hypocrisy from the so-called free speech right. J.D. Vance at the Munich Security Conference lectured Great Britain about limitations on our freedom of speech. But of course, the Palestine exception, the Israel exception, as is always with the case, because their ranks are stuffed with ultra-Zionists. Likewise, the so-called Free Speech Union in Britain, deathly quiet about all this because they're all, Palestine haters as well. In fact, there's a sort of very, very unattractive anti-Palestinian racism, which is carried over from the anti-Muslim racism that's been allowed to rear its head in Britain in recent years, emboldened by Nigel Farage, such that on the old, our enemy's enemy is our friend and all the rest of it, then they support Israel. The likes of commentators like David Atherton and Chris Rose and all the rest of it, they've all been brainwashed into somehow thinking that because the majority of people in Gaza are Muslim, they all deserve to die. Simple as that. They're all terrorists, potential terrorists, or whatever. So they all join in the pylon as well. And also, of course, that simply any form of Palestinian solidarity is a left issue. See, so you're automatically a leftist if you show any solidarity with the Palestinians. Indeed, if you condemn the actions of the Israeli government, you're a leftist.
So on the quickly, Basil, on the far right thing. So if Israel is killing Muslims and Arabs in record numbers in the Middle East, literally bombing them in their homes, and when they flee, bombing them in the refugee tents, that kind of gives them a strong case to flee the Middle East, come to Europe, and claim, asylum from a war zone. I think it's just about as good as of a case as you could possibly make. So why are they cheering for Israel if Israel's driving refugees into Europe? Maybe that's too high of a concept question for the likes of Tommy Robinson and the low IQ debate crowd, the Farages of the world. I'm just throwing that out there. What do you think? Is that a reasonable question?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if you want to be a conspiracy theorist, you can start talking about the Kalergi plan to flood Western Europe with refugees from North Africa and the Middle East in order to undermine Western civilization. But the Israelis have managed to convince these low intellect people that they in Israel are the bulwark against the Muslim hordes, and that this little plucky outpost is, shares our values and all the rest of it. They're white people and so on and so forth. Even though, of course, the Israelis regard, so-called Christian Zionists with complete contempt.
Total contempt.
Total contempt.
Enough of our highfalutin intellectual sophistry. Let's look at what the people who really know what's going on, the people in our comment threads. We're going to bring those up on stage here. And here we go. Let the wisdom begin. Anything could be a circumstance that could, quote, arouse reasonable suspicion. What is reasonable? Good point. Oh, and it gets better. It's worse. It's like going to jail for having a bumper sticker on your car saying, "Don't leave children in hot cars." There you go, Ruckus.
Yeah.
And how about this? This is from 2-6. I like this one. This sounds like anti-witch legislation resurrected from the 1600s in Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I used to live up the road from
Well
there on
said.
the North Shore.
Well said.
Let's not badmouth Salem. Oh, here we go. Rupert Fellows, pre-crime thought police. Yeah, we're there. We're nearly there. Add AI to the mix and Alex Karp, and you got yourself the Minority Report. And here we go. Trump looks aroused, meeting head chopper Giuliani. I think is a spelling error there. Giuliani. That's definitely a typo. Speak to our editor on that. Death before dishonor, the exploited, and the Zios are the biggest snitches. Okay. Well, I don't know about that. We'll see. Some guys in Australia had this is Penn Dog. Some guys in Australia had a seemingly Hezbollah. What is a seemingly Hezbollah flag? Anyway, seemingly like Hezbollah.
It looked like a Hezbollah flag, but actually,
up close, actually a pic of an Australian folk hero, bushranger Ned Kelly. Who knew that they were so close, the likenesses? So that will get you proscribed in Australia, running around with a Ned Kelly flag. Be careful. We're putting you on notice, guys. Pam Drew, she's saying, if only the Pentagon spending could be tracked with fine detail of bad thoughts. Right. Yeah, if I had a dime for every bad thought in the Pentagon, we'd all be rich. Here we go. Anybody who doth wear symbols of witches or articles of witches' clothing will be committing the offense of witchcraft. There we are. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. We've cracked it. We've all been here before, haven't we, Hesher?
Yes, the Witchfinder General is now your government. So have fun with that. This is going to be interesting.
Dunk them.
Quick, raise your hand on this call if you're a Russian bot.
That's pretty tame these days. I mean, that used to get you really canceled. Now, being a Russian bot's like nothing.
Safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the problem in Britain is obviously, Zionist infiltration, not just of government, but of media, seemingly now of the judiciary as well. People like myself like to use the term cancer to describe it because that's what it is. It's a parasitic ideology that works very directly against the interests of the British people, quite apart from the poor people of Palestine. We need a complete de-Zionization. This ideology isn't toxic. It's absolutely evil. And this is what needs to be stated at every opportunity. So people are, at least as Katie Johnston, the Australian journalist, has pointed out recently, they're losing their fear of speaking up about Israel-Palestine. It used to be that you could shut ordinary people down with a few talking points. It's too complex for most people to understand. I don't want to go there, so on and so forth. But more and more people now do feel empowered to speak about it, particularly young people. And there's no putting the genie back in that bottle in terms of Israel's pariah status across the global south, but also with young people the world over. There's no coming back from that. It may be that we have to wait for the baby boomers, and I'm one of them, for our generation to die off or move out of power before we see any meaningful change. But of course, the lobby will be busy browbeating, blackmailing, and bribing, the next generation. They don't give up easily, as we've seen. I mean, some people are even saying Epstein's still out there blackmailing people from his base in Tel Aviv, but that's a conspiracy.
No, he's probably witness protection. He might be up in Canada, I heard. We'll see when he returns. That'll be a glorious return of the prodigal son of Zionism there. Brent Howell says, and in 1812, they came back and have now conquered us. He's talking about the British. He's not far. You know what? I find a hard time these days separating Israel and Britain on the deep state level.
Unfortunately so.
It really, I mean, they're like this. So who created Israel? It was Lord Balfour and the Rothschild famous letter that was sent. He provided the funding, the initial funding for it. British military trained the Haganah while they were bombing the King David Hotel and killing British soldiers. So figure that one out. So anyway, so the U.S. is just kind of the muscle. Britain's the brains. And Israel's somehow got them both by the short and narrows. Hard to figure that one out. So one comment in here says American Dependence Day on Israel. Or yeah,
I get it. Yeah, good idea. I mean, American Independence Day is a total joke, isn't it, these days? I mean, you tell me, Hesher, Adam, are people in the United States waking up to the fact that you two live under a Zog, Zionist-occupied government?
It's a great question, Baz. It's definitely growing. It is swelling. It is. I don't know if it's bursting around the seams or not, but there is definitely a growing skepticism, I would say, amongst people that aren't as deep into the news and geopolitics and all this as we are. But yeah, I mean, just judging by the comments that we get from our American viewers and listeners, it's definitely becoming much bigger. By trying to squash the message, it has become a much bigger message. And how they are planning to manage that going forward is, I don't know. It almost feels like it's in tailspin, and there's no way to manage it going forward. But it also kind of, I have this sneaky suspicion that there is a plan to manage this narrative going forward, and that may just be what we're talking about today. It may just be pure, rampant Orwellian authoritarianism wielded by technocrats and snitches.
Yeah, I mean, I'll double down on that one, what Hesher just said, because like you were talking about these P words like prescribed. No, the solution here will be another P word. It's going to be like Palantir. Clearly, that's the answer to all of these problems. The issue with the BBC, the artists, and I mean, yeah, the technocracy is always going to win at the end of the day. And a lot of these people pushing forward these bills and these prescriptions are heavily invested in the technocracy, in these solutions to the problems that they're making up. They used to create real problems, wait for us to react, but now they're just making up problems out of thin air and putting it on a piece of paper. It's insane.
Yeah, and real quick, Pat. We were commenting earlier. I was riffing off someone in the chat. Thanks for the comment. They can't arrest everyone. That's true. They can't arrest everyone, but they can Palantir everyone. They can spy on everyone. They can deplatform everyone. They can debank. They can deperson. Being deplatformed, debanked, and depersoned, some might argue, is worse than going to jail and getting 3 squares a day and an hour in the yard.
Yeah, and you get let out after a few days because they can't really hold you for any, because you haven't done anything. But getting debanked and being a politically exposed person, a PEP, is much worse. Just ask Steve Bannon or Dustin Stockton, who we had on the show before as well. Basil Rupert Fellows is asking, the UK needs a new Witchfinder General. Who would you nominate as the Witchfinder General if you had to choose someone appropriate for the role? Based on their sort of persona.
Oh, I'd choose Professor David Miller. He knows where the bodies are buried. He knows,
I see. So working for the forces of good. Interesting.
Of course. I mean, I hope that's what Rupert Fellows means. What else could he possibly mean? We've already got one working for the forces of darkness. So, but
here we go.
I mean, interesting that the fact that the MAGA right is splitting. We had Marjorie Taylor Greene, didn't we, being interviewed by Tucker saying, what's all this? We had so many bills prioritizing Israel. And then just in the last 48 hours, Tucker has interviewed Pezeshkian, the new Iranian president. And of course, all the Zionists to pile on. We shouldn't talk to him. He wants to kill Trump. He wants the end of America, all the rest of it. So it's very easy for the good old boys to pile on students with foreign sounding names at Columbia and elsewhere who object to genocide. It gives them a little bit more to think about if they have to attack somebody as obviously one of themselves as Tucker.
Yeah, they're all attacking him on X. You probably seen Tucker's not doing journalism. He's doing, Muslim propaganda or something. It's just people are so unhinged. The New York mayor candidate Mondani, they're calling for him to be deported, denaturalized. Why? Driving while Muslim, basically. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's New York. It's New York. It's a woke city. Come on. What'd you expect? Okay, so here's a comment based on our earlier, basically is Pittsburgh dude here, 87. Robinson's followers are low IQ. Robinson himself is laughing all the way to the bank on Zionist cash. What about that is not true? Anyone?
I got nothing.
Well, I don't. We know Robinson has been at the forefront of conflating British people's frustration, shall we say, with aspects of the Muslim community in Britain, with Israel's ethnic cleansing and genocide of Muslims in the Middle East. I mean, obviously, the two are nothing to do with each other. And if you want to be rational about it, well, yes, we the British are the indigenous people here, and they, the Palestinians, are indigenous over there. So if it's indigenous v invaders, then he should be on the side of the Palestinians. But whether or not he's actually getting paid by the Israelis, I'm not sure. I haven't seen his bank statements. He claims that he isn't, but he might as well be at this point.
And people from Pittsburgh need to be careful when traveling because there's another PA.
That's
PA,
right.
Pennsylvania. Ooh,
Yeah,
dangerous.
also, I think Ruckus is referring to the newly proscribed organization.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. We are all Pennsylvania now.
Yeah.
Right? We are all from I mean, you do feel sorry anyway for people from Pennsylvania because they elected John Fetterman as their senator. So I've got tons of sympathy for them. Here we go. We are certainly in C.S. Lewis's That Hideous Strength territory now. So alluding to something in C.S. Lewis novel. He's brilliant, by the way, C.S. Lewis. Some of his political writings are pretty incredible. I gotta give a shout out here. One of our Boiler Room members, Based Lit Analyzer, has been doing a C.S. Lewis series of live streams on his YouTube channel. So if you're a C.S. Lewis enjoyer, become a Based Lit Analyzer enjoyer also. Based Lit Analyzer on Alternate Current Radio. Interesting C.S. Lewis series. We'll have to tap into that. I like it.
The other question I've been wondering about this, when we're prescribing support, those things that are in support of a prescribed terrorist organization, I would suggest that the entire second half of the Bible could be considered that as well.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, let's not go there, Ruckus. That is really wading into the deep weeds of anti-Semitism. Big Trouble says Giuliani typo. You see, everyone's making this typo now. It's just like a virus. I don't know what's going on here. What's wrong with these people? Here we go. Trump said Giuliani is very handsome, but Mamdani is bad looking. I think Mamdani is probably better looking than Giuliani.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm obligated to say that because one is the former head of Al Qaeda and deputy of ISIS. So I can't say he's good looking, but Donald Trump did. What was going through his head?
It's ridiculous.
I didn't get that. What was that?
there's nothing good looking about looking into the eyes, looking into the window of the soul to someone who has decapitated people. I'm sorry.
Listen, guys, that was borderline a homoerotic comment by the president.
Yeah.
I was very uncomfortable with that. Very, very uncomfortable. And it really scrambled me. It was a scrambler. It was a great Trump scrambler there. It made me think, like, what's going on here? What's going on? That really rocked my mental constitution. Okay, let's not leave Europe out of this, guys. As you know, they love their censorship. The censorship happens in several EU countries. It seems coordinated. You're damn right it's coordinated. This is just the beginning. Criticizing NATO next will be considered hate speech. So I think at some point, guys, just being anti-war is going to be akin to being a terrorist. I mean, do you think we'll get that far on this?
Wouldn't that be ironic because if that were to happen, we would go back and have all these old tweets before it was X from Donald Trump talking about how NATO is terrible and NATO should be shut down and we should leave NATO. I mean, he went on a bender back in his first term about NATO. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though, Klaus.
Yep. So the idea, Patrick, that they were talking about Australia, they were protesting, but kind of punking the cops with the Hezbollah stroke Ned Kelly flag. Yeah, I mean, that's totally clever. The Aussies are crafty. I'm glad they pulled that one out. They're just lucky they had the Ned Kelly flag in their sort of historical, visual toolbox there, graphical toolbox. That's pretty cool. Ned Kelly's got kind of cool. I think Basil dropped off. We'll bring him back on stage. There he is. Okay, I'll just go through a couple more of these comments and we'll get some final thoughts, guys, here. Let me see. I just put this up just gratuitously. Kraftwerk. Let's just say Kraftwerk, just alluding to the great techno legends. That just came out of nowhere. Jask One Rat. Kraftwerk. How random is that? So, yeah, Kraftwerk's badass. I prefer Kraftwerk over Daft Punk.
Yeah, me too.
Any day of the week. Okay, here we go. Right. Mother Goose 3, two wings of the same bird. The City of London is the financial wing, and the U.S. is the military wing. The banksters and thugs are the U.S. Yes, and the spiritual wing is the Vatican. But Tel Aviv is both. It is both the military and the spiritual wing now. So somehow they're trying to pull the center of gravity there over of the New World Order over to Jerusalem. Go figure. That is exactly some of the bigger binding, all-encompassing conspiracy theories I've read as well about end times eschatology, the Antichrist, and all the rest of it. As Beady Man was saying, are we looking at the end times? A lot of people are talking about biblical eschatological things these days. This is a good quick breakout question here. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this, and then we'll probably wrap this up. We'll go for a couple more comments, and then we'll wrap it up. I'll go to Basil first. Basil, what's going on in Gaza? To me, it's biblical, because what's biblical is not the horror. It is bad, the horror, but the reaction against Israel and the reaction against the kind of previously impregnable international Jewish narrative is now just completely in tatters, and they're completely, on the back heels. And it's like, I could never have imagined that could happen, because the propaganda had been laid on multi-layered so thick over the decades. That to me is biblical, because that's pretty much half the Old Testament is basically God and Moses waving the finger, the proverbial holy finger at them, saying, what are you guys doing? So your thoughts on this, Basil? I mean, the eschatological narratives have now come to the forefront. What do you think?
Well, you've got idiots like Mike Huckabee representing supposedly the United States in Israel, now in Jerusalem, of course, after the embassy was moved from Tel Aviv. And he's some sort of millennialist. He wants to bring about the second coming of Jesus Christ, and he thinks that Israel plays a pivotal role in that. Milakovsky, the guy who renamed himself with a more Hebrew-sounding name, the war criminal, who for some bizarre reason is still sort of quoted in newspapers and referenced by politicians as if he was a respectable human being and the leader of an ordinary democratic country. He's a mass murderer. He's a child killer. He, of course, used the term Amalek to describe all Palestinians. And I've seen clips just today from various other Jewish Israeli spokespeople, rabbis, leaders saying, look, according to the Torah, according to our doctrine, everybody in Gaza is the enemy. Every last baby, every child has to be killed. We have to lay waste to it. And that's exactly what they've been doing. So we've got this bizarre dichotomy where, on the one hand, Israelis are being very open about the fact that they are committing genocide. They want to commit genocide. They want to completely erase Gaza and all its inhabitants from the map. And then you get the version that's sort of presented in the West, where it's sort of, oh, well, if only the Hamas would turn the hostages. Israel is only defending itself, and this, or all the other sort of talking points to try and cover up the horror. But I disagree with you. I think the horror is biblical in its scale. We cannot imagine how what a hellscape has been created. There was a French surgeon recently left. He was published in Haaretz. It's impossible to conceive just how awful it is there. And of course, arguably the most obscene talking point to come from the anti-Muslim right, both Jewish and Gentile, here in Britain and the United States is, well, look, none of the other Arab countries want the Palestinians because they're such awful, horrible people. They can't go, why don't they go to Egypt and Jordan and these places? The reason they're not wanted because they're so awful. So therefore we might as well kill them all. Believe it or not, that is actually where we are. So in some ways, that is the end of the world, Patrick. It's the end of the civilized world. It's very, very difficult to engage with people who have that kind of mentality, or for that matter, people who say, when you start talking about the massacres taking place at the so-called food distribution points, you hear Israelis saying, we're not obliged to feed the Gazans. What?
Yeah, we're not obliged to let any food, water, or electricity in. We're not obliged to not bomb internet cafes where journalists are working. We're not obliged to not do any of that. Yeah, the horrors in Gaza are biblical. Basil, didn't misunderstand me there. I was just saying, additionally, the backlash against the Israelis, against world Jewry, if you will, is quite extraordinary and could somewhat shift, I think, the paradigm of power. Hesher and Ruckus, I'll go to both of you in that order. Have you heard a lot of biblical references to what's going on as being the end times, or we're getting close to the final battle, i.e., Revelations? Islamic eschatology has almost the same narrative, etc. What are you guys hearing? Hesher, go first, and then Ruckus.
I see it a lot. I see a lot of people. There's sort of a resurgence in the prepping community. It doesn't seem to be COVID related or anything like that. That certainly shifted a lot of people's worldview or assemblage point, if you will. But yeah, I'm definitely seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing a lot of the old profiteers coming out, and riding on top of that, looking to sell their food buckets and this and that, and their medicine packs and all that stuff. So there's a marketing aspect that's tied into it that confuses it a little bit. But I do see a lot of just normal accounts out there on the internet talking about it. I don't have a whole lot of people in my IRL scene in my real life, aside from, you guys and a couple people that think that way. But I do come across a lot of people that are sort of just, have accepted that there could be anything could happen. It could be a financial collapse. It could be, great floods. Could be anything.
Texas.
Could be,
You're having a great flood in Texas at the moment.
Yeah, we had a couple people in the chat asking for an update on that, and I don't have an update. All I can say is it happened, and 57 people last I saw had lost their lives, and 15 girls were missing. They've mostly been doing rescue and recovery of bodies and rescue of people that fortunately survived. Some really harrowing stories. The footage, like one of the places this hit the worst was in happened to be a floodplain where there was a summer camp going on, and it was in the middle of the night. It was like 2:30 in the morning. So that particular river, we spoke with a local yesterday. It usually only has about 3 feet of water in it, and so much water fell. It was like an Olympic-sized swimming pool every 3 seconds or something like that. That the floodplain just got nasty. I mean, it's crazy the amount of cars and damage. It
went up to, if I'm not mistaken, Hesher, up to 70 feet, from 3 feet to 70 feet in an hour. Is that right?
What?
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, and there was no warning or anything like that. If there were, weather people were saying we didn't know it was going to be this bad, and even if there had been warnings, the timing may have just been a tragedy anyways. So that really kind of put a damper on 4th of July here in Texas. Odd to be having so much rain in July in Texas, at least for us, it seems that way. And also, since we're doing a 4th of July recap real quick here, I'd like to point out that over 50 people were shot in Chicago, 6 killed. We had 6 fatal injuries, including a 16-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy. Multiple others gunned down in mass shootings and drive-bys across the city. When they say mass shootings, they really mean gang shootings and youth shootings. But yeah, victims ranging from teenagers to adults, people sitting in parked cars. That's what happened in Chicago this weekend, and it's a blip on the radar. So, yeah.
Well,
only
did they
50?
Only 50.
It was a slow year, I guess, this time
slow
around.
weekend, in Chicago. On the movie sets, production assistants are called PAs. Whew, Krypton steel. Another dangerous profession there. To be a PA on a movie set, terrorist, basically, according to the British government. And just to round it off here, Ruckus, on the biblical front, you have any thoughts on that? Have you any observations? Heard any talk about this?
Quite a few. I'm actually exploring the idea of dedicating an entire show or maybe even a series of the Daily Ruckus to this topic because I find it to be very fundamental to what we're experiencing right now. If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? That's a quote from the Bible. And what I just did there is to quote something out of context from the Bible to prove a point. In this case, I'm just, expressing my opinion on a radio program. It's no big deal. But when you do those types of things to then further an agenda that affects the entire planet and ultimately is costing people's lives, innocence, I find the whole thing disgusting to use Christianity to defend things that are very anti-Christian, i.e. the killing, the death, and the support of all this stuff. We're supposed to turn the other cheek. We're supposed to welcome the enemy. We're supposed to love thy neighbor and everybody and everything. And the message is completely lost in all of this. But this doesn't surprise me. The United States of America has a serious problem here. They like to run around pretending like it's a Christian nation of some sort, like, oh, well, this country. No, what's important about this country is that we don't have any official affiliation with any religion. That's how the founding fathers set it up that way. And they put it in the Constitution and all that stuff about how, the separation of church and state, which everybody gets wrong. It's supposed to be the government is not supposed to issue any official religion or religious doctrine because, you're going to have problems like this. And here we are having this problem. The problem is most people in America, whether they're Christian or they're not, or they say they are or they aren't, they have this identity attached to them. So even if they don't even believe in God, when it comes to these things, when it's another foreign country's bizarre religion like Buddhism or Muslim and Islam and all of this stuff, they just latch onto it as part of their American identity. And the only thing they know is what they hear in the news. So it's repeated in the news from these preachers, the televangelists, and all of them were, from their existence, were heavily embedded with the Zionist narrative thing. They're all Schofield Bible type people. And you have to do a lot of research into this, people, especially if you're a believer. Don't blindly believe that this is what you're supposed to believe. You're supposed to do the research yourself and look in the Bible. And the tricky part gets with this, what they're using today is they're saying this is a sign of things that are about to happen in the future. Here's your proof. And it's the Bible eschatology, the interpretation of proscribed prophecies. And the thing is, when you do a lot of research and you realize the early church fathers, like, this is a new concept. It's only just in our lifetimes that this has become a thing. The early Christians understood that none of this, like what those things meant. They understood what Revelation was talking about. A lot of these prophecies are things that were in the future from the time that they were prophesied, but they've already come true. And a lot of people like misinterpret them and use them again to further an agenda. So I encourage you, if you're interested in this, explore other options. Learn what maybe Revelation means. Learn what the prophecies from Daniel might really mean, and whether or not is that what we're about to face in the future, or is this something that already took place? And, you know, again, if you're a believer, listen to the words of Jesus Christ. If that's who you believe and what you believe and you say you believe, he said, no one, not even him, knows the time and when the Father's going to come. Like, and if you can sit here and analyze and do the Bible codes, a lot of this means, and the red heifer, that's it. He's come. No, you don't know none of that. He's going to come like that when you're least expecting it. So all of this is pointless and useless. And it's just furthering a satanic agenda at the end of the day. That's all I wanted to say about it.
Yeah, like a thief in the night. Like a thief in the night. Yep. So Christian Zionism is now the official religion of the USA. Some might argue that's the case. If you look at the current Zog government there by Trump. Trump. What are we going to do with MAGA guys? Laura Loomer's getting a lot of mentions in the comments. I can't post all of them because they're not family friendly. We'll just leave it there. But
there is one other elephant in the room that I had to ask you about, Patrick, the new political party in America.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought this up, Ruckus. I meant to talk about it earlier, and I'm getting vibes, and they're not good vibes. I'll bring it up on screen. I have the tweet. From the dear leader. Hold on, let me bring this up for a moment. Let me clear some space on the deck. Right, let's bring this up. So Elon Musk, who has fallen out with his bro, Donald Trump, recently. So he's launching this new party. No donors, no puppets, no strings, just a party built on common sense, not consultants. The America Party. Very creative name. I have to give it to him. He really dug deep on this one. I have 3 words to describe this. I mean, he's even using an AI-generated image. So, guys, fake and gay.
Yeah, 100%. But it is sort of a seed. You know, I've been saying on Boiler Room for years. It's just a matter of time before we have a technocrat party or technocrats invade our parties. And this is exactly that kind of nerd fan fantasy right here. This is fantasy politics right here. But the message, you know, is something we should be concerned about. This is another thing we've been talking about ever since inauguration. Why are all these technocrats part of the White House now?
Okay. How about this? I'll throw it back to the panel. Elon Musk, career Democrat, supported John Kerry, Barack Obama 1.0, Barack Obama 2.0, backed Hillary Clinton in 2016, backed Biden in 2020. And then all of a sudden became like a MAGA conservative guy, right? So he does this and he splits the vote. Whose vote's he going to split? Is he going to split the Democrat vote or the Republican vote? It's going to be the Republican vote. Who's going to benefit from that? Democrats. Elon. Elon. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it?
No. Well, he said that what he wants to do is target a small number of Senate and congressional seats. It's not going to be a nationwide party, but what they want to do is break up the duopoly. So if they could get, say, half a dozen senators and deprive either Democrats or Republicans of an overall majority, likewise in Congress, if they could get 20 or 30 members of Congress, then they would have enough representation to hold the balance of power. Now, what they do with it, that's another matter. But in principle, I'm not opposed to the idea of breaking up the duopoly, or the uniparty, as people call it. I mean, in Britain, we've got a new left party about to be launched by former Labour MP Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn, both of whom now sit in the House of Commons as independents, of reform, who, 5 years ago didn't even exist, looks set to possibly form the next government in Britain, with the most successful political organisation in the history of modern civilization, the Conservative Party of the United Kingdom, Great Britain and Northern Ireland, possibly reduced to a rump of a couple of dozen seats. So change is possible. I don't necessarily support Musk, of course not. I've no idea what his platform is. But if something can be done to break up the hegemony,
techno bro platform,
bound to be. But if something can be done to break up the Zionist-controlled hegemony in the United States, I'm not saying Musk is the man to do it, but anything surely is a step in the right direction at this point.
Be careful what you wish for, mate. Never say anything. But these people, honestly, have we not learned anything?
Huffman Aviation says, what about the Workers' Party? I'm a big fan. I consider Chris Williamson, the deputy leader, to be a friend. And we'll have him on. I'll be talking to him again very soon on the air, most likely on the new station at Unprecedented TV. The problem that the Workers' Party have got, and that the new Corbyn Zara Sultana Party have got, is combating the legacy media, who are determined to. I mean, the new Zara Sultana Corbyn Party has been dubbed by Jewish influencers already the National Anti-Zionist Initiative, Nazi, N-A-Z-I. That's what they're calling it. They're going to, for wanting to speak up for civil rights, against genocide and redistribution of wealth in favor of the poor, fairer society. Apparently, you're a Nazi.
Wow, that's going to split the Labour vote. Maybe it'll give the Tories a chance. I'm still waiting for reform, Farage, to come up with a policy besides immigration. Like they haven't. There's no economic plan. There's no foreign policy. Just no more immigrants. That's pretty much it for Farage. That's not really a platform, is it? They don't even bother with the platform anymore, do they? It's just politics. Really, it's politics. The new politics. They don't care.
Can anyone start a new political party in the United States of America, or do you have to be the world's richest techno dude?
Yeah, no donors, but I'm the world's richest guy, and I'm bankrolling the party. Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Because I'm going to start one now.
Can do it. You can do it. It's a free country. That's what's great about this country. It's the greatest country in the history of the planet.
And I'm going to start a party here in the United States of America, and I'm going to call it the Free Palestine Party. That way, we will once again be prescribed as terrorists from the British government. That'd be fun.
Yeah, the PA. Call it the. PA's Revenge. I don't know, just PA, and then a picture of John Fetterman.
Yeah, I mean, what the Musk thing does
is a hoodie.
A
hoodie.
What the Musk thing does is illustrate that the United States is a plutocracy. It is governed by the rich. It's as simple as that. As like I said, Musk can start a new party because he's a multi-billionaire, so he can afford to bankrupt it. That doesn't necessarily mean that he can afford to bankroll it. I mean, whether or not the ideas have any sort of grassroots support, it's obviously not a grassroots organization. That's all completely 100% irrelevant because American politics is run by money, pure and simple.
Huffman Aviation says Farage was an investment banker. Another typo right there, folks. All right, here we go. Lord Musk. Well, he certainly thinks he is. It's just the dorkiness of it all. Elon Musk has no principles. I see no ideological, no philosophical, nothing. He literally just shows up, throws his money in, and then, he likes just sit there and suck up the adulation, make stupid jokes, putting out stupid memes, and platforming all the biggest wankers like Tommy Robinson you could possibly imagine. That's what Musk does. His politics are a disaster.
So we have a kakistocracy. Then we have a kakistocracy running roughshod over a plutocratic system. Then, so a kakistocracy is a government by the least qualified or most unprincipled citizens. In other words, governments run by the worst people.
This didn't age well, did it, guys?
I think it's aging fantastically.
Think so? Wow. There he is at the AFD rally. It is the most important election in the history of the planet. You remember that?
Is this where he got the gold chainsaw?
No, that was at CPAC. That was a couple months after that. But of course, he'll never ever be able to. He will never live it down.
No.
He'll never live it down as much as he tries. Not once, but double Roman. He did a double Roman. Roman squared. So this guy is a disaster. Anyway, when are we going to be done with him? Who knows? He'll still be lingering. I think he loved the limelight that Trump gave him. He really did. And Trump used him as well. And Trump kind of looked stupid in the process too. Here's Elon and little X. Elon, how'd you get that black guy? Well, it turns out my 3-year-old can swing pretty hard and got a black eye. No, you got beat up by the Treasury Secretary who's gay. You got beat up by a gay man, Elon, in a suit. That's not a good look for the alpha male. Arch conservative this week, Elon Musk. Next week he will be a technocrat. He'll be a Democrat. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, how are you going to fund the Mars trip? Memcoin? What do you think?
What are we going to do with the better question? What are we going to do without the Mars trip? What would we do if someone wasn't going to Mars? I mean, wow.
He said it needs to happen now before it's too late. Is there something about to happen that we need to know about?
Yeah, a lot of those cryptic, ominous comments. What is that all about? And the behaviors from a lot of the plutocrats and kakistocrats out there. I mean, look at 2020 and 2021, for example. The behavior of elected people and famous people has gone off the rails. It's such that they don't. It feels as though there's a weird zeitgeistial change among that upper echelon of people, if you can grit your teeth and accept that as a descriptor for them, that they don't have to worry about being reelected past a certain amount of time, or that they don't have to worry about their wealth after a certain amount of time, or that they don't have to worry about their legacy. There just seems to be this like tossing away of those sort of things. And that's, maybe I'm over analyzing it, but it seems to me that might be.
No, I think you're right. A lot of the sort of mores, what we consider to be even previously pretty low standards in public life, of whether it's accuracy in reporting, or journalism has gone through the floorboards. Corporate media are just government stenographers these days. And totally unprincipled as well. The gloves are off. The gloves and the masks are off, aren't they? The real horror of the people who govern us has been revealed in the last couple of years, and people are no longer, it seems, afraid to say so. But this has as a result, has led us to the cusp of this global awakening, which is the most optimistic thing there is out there. You know, go on, Patrick.
I'd like Elon to go to Mars, says Daz. He can take some others with him. Okay, on that note, quick fire round, and we will wrap it up. But I want to hear from our audience on this. If we have to send anyone to Mars, who is going to Mars? Give me your answers right now in the comments, and we will display and feature the best answers. And just keep it simple. One person. Which one person would you put? Would you reserve a seat on the Mars mission? Bezos, Musk providing the rockets. It doesn't matter. There's seats available, limited seats. Let's send 100. Who would you send? Go ahead. Give us the names, folks. Let it rip. Let's go.
Well, they're coming fast.
Trump. Ben Shapiro. Wow. Okay. That's going to be a popular one.
Good one, yeah.
You guys couldn't have guessed the next one, I'm sure. You wouldn't have expected that right there. Certainly not. Rabbi Shmuley, you got it. How about this? Lauren Sanchez. Who is she? Do you guys know who she is?
Oh, that's Bezos' new wife.
Yeah, she already did a little test run, didn't she?
Yeah.
There. Yep. Yeah, Zuckerberg was really giving her the up and down at the inauguration. Boris Johnson. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably not worth a seat, to be quite honest. He's mildly annoying, but fairly harmless at this point. Photon says Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, who apparently doesn't want the human race to survive. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah.
Recent interview. Was that disturbing?
Yeah, he'd rather be associated with the Antichrist than humanity just carrying on, I guess.
But it's okay because he doesn't think he's the Antichrist, so we're fine.
Yeah.
Pretty much, pretty much unanimous here. Netanyahu. I mean, one-way ticket. Yep, that goes without saying. We're not going to issue a return ticket with it. It's just not going to happen. Michael Rappaport. Yeah, that's a good call right there. In fact, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. He might not be worth it. I kind of like him. He's actually doing a favor by showing what an absolute horrible person he is and what he stands for. He's actually doing his cause a lot of harm, which is good, generally good. Okay. Joe Biden, not even worth a seat. Nope. Larry Fink, what do you guys think? Is that
good candidate? Yeah. Keir Starmer, good candidate.
Yeah.
But really, I think we should just send the entire population of Israel.
Yeah. You know, you say Bill Gates here. I don't think that's necessary. Bill's kind of out of the game, isn't he? Is he out of the game yet? He's really damaged by the whole, he went for broke, didn't he, during the whole vaccine hysteria. He really thought he was going to get his whatever dystopic vision of the world. We're all going to be eating fake meat by now, but it didn't happen. Although they're getting there. Meat's getting expensive. Okay, Starmer, Milikowski, that's, again, Netanyahu. Roger Waters, no, he's not going to send him up there. Unless he wants to go, but not with them. Lammy, yep, he's probably in there. Alex Karp, yeah, that's, what do you think? Alex Karp?
Alex Karp, Peter Thiel, both those guys, Larry Ellison, Elon Musk, the whole tech bro crew. They're the ones that want it anyways, right? I mean, they should be signing up to be the first people to go there.
Starmer, I don't think Starmer's worth a seat. He might not be in office by Christmas, Basil. That's what I heard. I heard Wes Streeting's taking over. Starmer's becoming a liability. Mariana Spring, she can report on it. I wouldn't put her on the rocket. I quite like having her around because she makes the BBC look really bad. So she's kind of useful in that respect. Again, Soros, how, you know, he's kind of done. Now this, Rupert Fellows has come through in the clutch. Right there, guys.
Yep.
Right there. Mark Levine. The world would be a better place if he was on Mars. What do you think? His mouth could fuel the mission on its own.
Yeah.
The amount of hot air that guy generates.
Are we trying to start a war with the Martians or something? Because that would be
They could do it. I mean,
Very good.
I don't know if I said this on the show, but I mean, if Elon went, and just imagine he gets to Mars and the Martians show up and they're all black, that would really be a shock for Elon, wouldn't it? Alan Dershowitz, is it worth a seat? Is it worth a seat? I know that's tempting, guys.
That's the thing with like Dershowitz and Gates and Fauci. There's like a whole bunch of people that have been the mouthpiece for various forms of tyranny that have affected a lot of people in pretty profound ways over the years. So I could see a lot of disdain for those characters. Get them off my planet. You know, even though they may not be as effective, they may not be like, you know, on the top of the threat list right now. I think there's a lot of just general disdain for that ghoul creature crowd. Same with you know, Schwab and a lot of those guys.
Creative Accidents, seconds Mark Levine. And again, it's the reason Mark Levine is a good choice is because of the double, you know, the sort of double benefit. You get rid of him and he can fuel the mission just from the perspiration on his forehead. So that's a double benefit. Again, sustainability factors in there. Laura Loomer, what do you guys think? Should she have the privilege of seeing Mars?
You know, I would go with Nikki Haley over Laura Loomer. You know, Nikki Haley, of course, she wanted to ban TikTok because it was getting the message out about what was going on in Gaza, and she went out and she signed some bombs to drop there. Said the signature. She kneeled down in front of a bomb and wrote "America, Heart, Israel." You know, something like that. Go get them, something like that. And then dropped a bomb, and you know, who knows what it landed on.
I think she should be able to emigrate to a kibbutz in Israel. I think that would be better for Nikki, rather than take up a valuable seat on this glorious rocket ship that we're assembling here. I think this is pretty much a slam dunk. What do you guys think right here? Rupert Fellows again. Piers Morgan, you need media there to cover it, right?
Yeah, good call.
It is going to be a one-way mission, folks. Just telling you. Elon can't even run this app on X. Do you think he's going to be able to do this mission properly? I don't think so. So I think it's a one-way mission. So again, Tony Blair. Tony Blair's just kind of, I don't know. He does damage, but he's slightly on the decline, I would say, in terms of his powers of influence. So some ghoulish, yes, the long hair is weird, but somewhat, yeah, here we go. Either Zelensky or Macron. Okay, fine. John McGuire wants to throw up a choice here. Right, guys, Hobson's choice. Zelensky or Macron? We'll go around and take a vote. Hesher.
I'm going to go with Macron. Just I'm feeling the Macron vibes right now.
I'm with you on that. I don't mean to sway anybody's vote, but I'm with Hesher. I think Macron, definitely. Ruckus, Zelensky or Macron?
Zelensky, but only if he's playing a different character, like he thinks he's Matt Damon or something. That'd be fun.
Interesting twist. Ruckus using the acting angle there with Zelensky being a qualified actor. Of course, he can do that. Basil, Zelensky or Macron?
Oh, Zelensky by a country mile. I mean, Macron is reported to be putting pressure on the British government to recognize the state of Palestine. Now, I mean, although that's be a largely sort of symbolic move, it won't wind up the Israelis. So anybody who wants to wind up the Israelis isn't all bad in my book, whereas Zelensky is completely hopeless. So
that's a 2-2 vote. That's a split vote, guys. That's we need a tiebreaker, or there's an option here, or let me think. We put Mark Levine on the tarmac just to basically. So you need someone at the last minute to wipe off the rocket engines to make sure that no ice is forming. It's a dangerous job, of course. We could put Levine on that job, and then we could have Zelensky and Macron on there. And they both like each other a lot, as you know. So they definitely keep each other company for that long mission. And they're both like 5'4". Macron's 5'6", Zelensky's 5'4". So there is space there for both of them, actually.
Well, I don't know, because Macron's not allowed to go anywhere without that one guy. What's his name? Bridget,
yeah. Brick. So this is going to be a unanimous slam dunk. I don't think anybody's going to vote against this one. Bono from U2. What do you think?
That's
a good one. He deserves to go. He deserves to go. He's always been there at every historic major event. Bono has always been there, right? So he should be on this mission. King Charles, I don't think so. I think he's No, I don't think so.
Oh, I got one.
Go ahead.
Katy Perry. How come no one said Katy Perry yet? Let's send her.
She did the walkthrough with Dirty Sanchez on Bezos' rocket. That little fake little mission there.
You rascal.
Jamie Raskin. Oof, outsider there. That's a little bit of a dark horse. Okay, we'll take a couple more. There's a couple of seats left on this mission.
What about King Jong-un? Because he's the rocket man.
He should have. I don't know. I like Kim. I think Kim is a badass. What do you think? He kind of is.
He's probably my favorite fake CIA dictator of all of them. So yeah, he can stay. I like it. He plays Xbox with Rodman, and how could that be bad?
Kim
and he cries when his soldiers die, apparently, too. That's interesting.
He's looking a lot better than Trump now in terms of a statesman. Whoa, there is 2 seats left. Let's just wrap this up. We've only got 2 vacant seats on this mission. It's a one-way ticket to Mars. Obviously, we think that certain people deserve to go because of their profile and I think elites deserve to see Mars, even if they're not coming back. What do you think, Lindsey Graham?
Yes, get rid of him.
I endorse this.
Yep.
Well, but he would probably want to bomb the red planet, and that's
he
bad.
He would. Yeah, imagine if the Iranians got there first and already colonized it. That'd be kind of a downer for Lindsey. Okay, one more. Oh, this is going to be so hard. There's some big names that have been put in here. So I'm going to have to do an executive move. I'm going to have to pick one. Wow, there's some big names. Big names. They're coming in now. The good ones are coming in, guys. I'll name you the ones I think that we're going to have to pass on. John Fetterman. I like John Fetterman where he is because he discredits his party and himself so wonderfully that he needs to stay and do that work. Ursula von der Leyen, that is tempting, but she's she's halfway out the door at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to do an executive pick here, guys. And this is it. This is it. Full mission. Last seat on the ship here. Last seat right there. Right there. Jordan B. Peterson. And it makes perfect sense because you need a psychoanalyst to be on that mission with all of those people that we're talking about. You need somebody there, to remind them to make their damn bed in the morning and kind of keep things nice and daily wired, Jordan B. Peterson. That's it. That's it. The mission is done, folks. That's it. We have our mission to Mars.
I want to give an honorable mention to our friend Creative Accidents, who came up with a good one too. Victoria Newland with a tray of cookies.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For the Martians. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's death right there. Well, yeah, that's probably, it is tough. That's a lot of room to make for Newland, though. Have you seen her lately?
Yeah.
I don't know if the space, maybe the cookies, maybe, but not her, unfortunately. Matt Miller, tempting, but he hasn't raised his profile quite high enough yet. Of course, Shmuley's we already picked Shmuley, everybody, so you don't need to tell us that. Henry Kissinger, Kamala, not sure. Anyway, I like the Peterson, the Vindman twins. That's a good one. The Vindman twins, they should get their own rocket. They can ride on the outside. Yeah, I mean, it's just so many great picks. Yeah, you guys did a great job. Our comments did a great job on this. It's really top job. Kagan's coming in there as well. It's sliding into home plate. It's too late, folks. We have shut the door and turned the bolt. Jeff Bezos has turned the bolt with his Allen key. Did you guys see that stupid thing? What the hell was that all about?
That was such a joke.
Talk about fake. Oh my God! Don't even get us started.
That's the recovered alien technology from Roswell. It's you just got to get it like within 5 feet of the door to just bust wide open one. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, you guys, thank you for joining us, everybody. Hesher, Ruckus, Basil Valentine. I'll just quickly get you to give a shout out to what you're doing this week, and just to our audience. Look, we do really hard politics. It's gruesome. It's depressing. But sometimes during Overdrive, we like to a little bit of gallows humor here, just to get you to lighten things up a little bit, because it's tough. It's tough for our readership. It's tough for our listenership. You guys, people are under like psychological, cognitive assault, like every second of every day. So we're just kind of like let off some steam here, and you can imagine what that's like to have that rocket go up, and Musk is on board as well. That means you're probably not going to see them very much after that. And that's all good. And then we could just do a fake AI version of the mission after that and then play that off for the next couple of years. Because that's what they're going to do anyway, isn't it? Anyway. Like, so, right, Hesher, give us a shout out. What's happening this week? What are you up to?
Well, we just closed out a Boiler Room on Thursday night. That's up on our Rumble and our YouTube and my X channel. So follow me on X at Hesher Media. Boiler Room on Rumble, Alternate Current Radio on YouTube, and visit the website alternatecurrentradio.com for all the latest show posts and everything. This show will be posted there, as well as 21stcenturywire.com shortly after the program. And yep, join us in the Boiler Room. That'll be Thursday nights. We are live, but those archives are up there on those video streaming platforms I mentioned. If you want audio versions, those are available at Spreaker and other good podcasting locations. That's what we got going on this week. Yeah, another Boiler Room graphic right there. The world on the roller coaster there. Ruckus has been hooking us up with some great graphics for the show. Also, Pat, congratulations. We're about a year out from your health scare last year, and we had to take some dynamic changes to the show while you were out. And I just want to let you know we love you, buddy, and we're so happy that you're here with us and manning the ship and working so hard. So really just a lot of appreciation for that. And I'm going to close with a quote from Chris Hedges. Big thanks to Creative Accidents for throwing this one my way. But when speaking about Gaza, he said recently on social media, the moral universe has now been turned upside down. Those of us who oppose genocide are accused of advocating it. Those who carry out genocide are said to have the right to self-defense. So think about that when you're doing your untwisting of the Orwellian backwards inverted world that you find yourself in right now, because there's something there. Thanks for having me, Patrick.
Yeah, thanks for the shout there, Hesher. I appreciate it. Yeah, a lot to reflect over the last 12 months. Maybe we'll talk. I don't know. I may write about this at some point in the future. But yeah, thanks. Ruckus, take us away.
Yeah, of course, Hesher mentioned the website, so that's a good spot for you to go if you're looking for anything related to alternate current radio. That's where you'll find my daily Ruckus, the Roundabout Ruckus, where I go on weaponized news. I also just did something recent with Jamie Hanshaw, so shout out to Jamie Hanshaw. And of course, you'll find the Boiler Room, our friends, the Odd Man Out, Mystical American Patriots. There's some daily Ruckus for you. So yeah, go to alternatecurrentradio.com. You'll find Midweek Wire there. If not, and you're looking for some Ruckus stuff, go to my X, it's AC_wordslinger. And I'll leave everybody with this great quote. When the people fear their governments, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is liberty. Thanks for having me, Patrick, and happy belated 4th of July to my American friends.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the slides as well, Ruckus. Great, we'll put that up full screen. Thank you. And Basil, what are you doing these days?
More. I'm doing more at Unprecedented TV, which is a new venture with former leader of the Liberal Democrats, Lembit. You can watch me on his X account, Lembit. Everything goes up there. I did one show last week. I'll do a couple this week. And there's now an Unprecedented TV YouTube channel, although you'll have difficulty finding it for the time being. That will become more visible. And I'm going to start doing more there. I'm going to start doing, probably 2 or 3 spots to camera per day. So watch this space. Much more to come.
Yeah, thanks. And late entry here on the Mars mission. Just throw that up on the screen. There you go. There was a spare seat.
Oh, Douglas Murray, yeah.
It's full. It's filled. It's filled
Yeah.
now. That's a full house on the way to Mars. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. It's been a great Sunday Wire. Lot to think about, lot to talk about. We'll catch up to you guys in our travels. Take care. All the best. There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the ACR team. Great to see Basil Valentine as well, of course, weighing in on so many important issues and stories. That's all we've got time for. Again, you can find the archives for the Sunday Wire. It's up at our website, 21stcenturywire.com. That's every Sunday, 12 till 3 Eastern time, 5 till 8, roughly, on UK time as well. Roughly the same times with the midweek wire, although we had it delayed till Thursday, but it was well worth it because it was a great breakdown on the Azerbaijan situation. That's the next geopolitical hotspot. Something big is about to drop in Azerbaijan. We've seen warnings from the U.S. Embassy having U.S. citizens leave, all sorts of clues like this saying something's going to happen. They have been somewhat exposed in the recent attacks on Iran. Israel's using Azerbaijan, it appears anyway, as a type of a launching pad. And perhaps the Americans are with Russia, or the Ukrainians are. We're not sure. But that's a hot spot. We broke all that down with Arnaud Devalet and Freddie Ponton. We're also going to issue a report on this tomorrow. So we're going to have a lot of content coming out in the morning, important content at 21stcenturywire.com. So look, we need your help. So support this platform. We have great shows. We have a great team. We're putting out great content. We're doing great research. Good journalism at 21stcenturywire.com. Essential for what's going on in the world. We've been going since late 2009, so not a flash in the pan. We have gradually and slowly, with very little resources, built this up to a pretty strong independent media platform, and we're running multiple channels. We have a Telegram channel as well as all of the other video sharing platforms, and so yeah, we do need your help. A lot of this stuff takes tremendous resources. We have higher overhead than we did a few years ago. So we need your help just to kind of keep this thing moving and moving well. And we are doing more content, better content, and we need your help to make that happen. Donate, subscribe, and become a member. That's the best way you can support us every month there. So there's different options you can do there. So we appreciate that. And also, I just launched a Substack up here. We'll bring this full screen. Patrick Henningsen, Substack. Different type of content there. Obviously, writing, more personal. Is different sort of approach to that. So do check it out. You can also support us there with the work that we'll be doing on Substack, which will be different content than what we're putting on at 21stcenturywire.com. So again, this is all independent media and all needs your support. So, and we appreciate anything that we can get, or follow it with a free subscription, and at least you can keep us in your inbox there whenever we do a new post or a new free post. Most of the content I'm doing on Substack will be free to everybody. So if you want to support us, that's optional. There will be some members content on there, but at the moment, a lot of it at the beginning, as we just launched, is going to be free. So we want to kind of get some great stuff out to people on a regular basis. So that's the main focus there. So yes, we appreciate anything you can do for us on all of these fronts. And yeah, we're going to wrap it up. So again, thank you very much. I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. This has been the Sunday Wire, brought to you live and direct on the Alternate Current Radio Network and also at 21stcenturywire.com, live on Rumble, live on YouTube. YouTube, we are so heavily throttled, so do us a big favor. We are so stuck in the worst algorithm prison on YouTube and have been for a very long time, 10 years. But we need your help to physically break out of it as much as we can. Do like and subscribe our YouTube channel. You'll find the link. Just go to 21st Century Wire TV on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Watch a few of these videos. Put our YouTube links on X. Put them on Facebook. Share them. You guys love our content. I know you do. But we need your help to kind of break out of that jail that YouTube has put us in. And maybe when we are able to, we can afford to, we'll take them to court for the throttling that they've been doing to us. And most of my other colleagues, too. There's a bunch of others that are in the same boat. Many of us were in the Twitter files, and we saw how they were sharing this list among the big tech companies of accounts and users that they wanted to keep from getting any traction. I was one of them. Of course, I saw it. So, and some of that was reported on at the time, as well as all the USAID blacklists. Again, all that gets fed back to the likes of Meta, Google, and YouTube. So unfortunately, that was one of the benefits of Musk buying Twitter. We are back on Twitter, back on X after I was banned from that platform for a year and a half. But as far as the others go, it's tough going. So we need your help to like, share our content. That goes for Instagram as well. So if you're not following us on those platforms, TikTok, please do. 21 Wire Media on Instagram and also on TikTok as well. So we're on all those, putting out viral videos almost every day. And some of them are getting great response. We're also getting mass reported as well. So that kind of goes with the territory. When you're criticizing you know who, that's just the way it is. So look, that's all we got time for today. Again, appreciate you guys. Appreciate all the help, all the comments as well. Our listeners are so switched on. Appreciate you guys there. So we'll leave you with a track. This one's doing pretty well, and so is our old friend Joseph Arthur out on the road. He's touring in France and Italy at the moment, and one of the tracks that's doing really well is Rise, which we premiered on this show many, many months ago. And that's actually doing great. He's doing great on the road. Joseph is really firing on all cylinders. Great artist, conscious artist, an uplifting artist. And we'll be featuring more artists as well. Big shout out to Beady Man. And we played his track, Viva Falestina. Wow. Powerful, powerful track. If you missed any of that, that's during the first break. After the 30-minute mark, you can look. We premiered that track today on the Sunday Wire. It's brand new, literally hot out of the studio. Beady Man, big respect, great effort, more to come, I hope. Great poet, great lyricist, conscious artist. We need more of them. Take care, you guys. We'll see you on the midweek. All the best.
Always try to look around for a smile, 'cause maybe it'll come around, maybe it'll come around, maybe it'll come around. We can see over, we can see past, we can see forever, but can we make it last? mass isolation, and nowhere left to belong. We can rejoice the fears that we had, as we're much more open to the ways we've been had. Rise when you hear the cries, and then you make the scene. Run through the hemispheres and learn to live your dream. Rise when you hear the cries, and then you make the scene. Run through the hemispheres and learn to live your dream. Always try to look around for a smile, 'cause maybe it'll come around. 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 No one wants anger. No one wants pain. The way that we hide is the way we remain. I know you love